welcome back to another episode of Under Further Review. Same cast as usual. We got Mike, Joe, Steve here. In the heart of the playoffs, we're going to talk NBA playoffs today, but we'll talk a little bit after our opening segment. Also, we have a cool interview with LeRoy Butler, Hall of Famer from the Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl champion. It was a fun one. It was a long one, actually. But I want to start here. I know that it's fresh. That's why I wanted to introduce it. And it's something that's been a big stir, I would say, for several seasons now, dating back to college and now at the professional ranks. But we had another chapter of the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese saga over the weekend. So I want to start off with the positives for Clark. So over the offseason, she finally had time to rest. That's been the big storyline because last season when she did get drafted, she jumped right into the WNBA, and then they had that like Olympic break, but it was such a short break for the players. It wasn't long enough to like really rejuvenate. So a lot of people are saying she's a lot more fit coming into this season. She really worked on that. Someone even said skinnier. I didn't know she could get skinnier, but I guess she's a lot quicker on the court, is essentially what they're saying.
She went the Lamar Jackson route.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, she opened her season up with a triple double: 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The fun fact is, she's already accounted for 20% of the 20-point triple doubles, I think, all time in WNBA history. And she's just starting her second season. A list of 20 points and 10 assist games in WNBA history is Courtney Vandersloot. She's played 430 games in the WNBA. She has 10 of them. Caitlin Clark has played 41 games in the WNBA. She has 9 of them. And Diana Taurasi, who has played 565 WNBA games and she just retired, has 9 of them. So that just says enough about what Caitlin Clark has already accomplished. But what I really wanted to get into is, and we've seen it all on social media, everybody's trying to make this a story. I don't know if it is a story. I don't know if it's not. I think it is a story just because of what transpired after the foul. But in the game, Angel Reese was going up for a rebound. She kind of pushed off on one of the Indiana Fever players, and she got the rebound. She had a direct path to the hoop in which Caitlin Clark picked up. She knew that it would be an easy layup for Reese, so she went in and fouled her, knowing that Reese is not the best free throw shooter in the WNBA, so she would rather her earn it at the line. Now, what's up for debate is if it was a rough foul or not. Did she push off at the end? Like Clark, some people are saying Clark pushed her towards the end too. I didn't see that on my view, but I don't know. It's up for debate. I saw RG3 actually, who does a sports podcast now, Robert Griffin Jr. or Robert Griffin III, I should say. He was saying that he thinks this is past a rival between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. It's at a point where Angel Reese just straight up hates Caitlin Clark. He said that he pointed out when last year one of her her Chicago Sky teammates, I can't talk, fouled her a little more over the top, where she shoved her to the ground when there was an inbounds pass, and the camera went to Angel Reese, and she was clapping. She was cheering on her teammate. And there's been other circumstances when Clark hit a three last night. They did Angel Reese dirty when they kind of zoomed in on her, and she was just kind of giving Caitlin Clark the death eyes. I think there's some known tension between these two players. I don't know if it's so much on Clark's side because every time Clark gets asked questions about Angel Reese, she always gives a response, and it's always, I want to say professional response because Clark gives a professional response to every question that she receives. Unfortunately, on the other hand, and I'm not being biased here, but like Reese does not want to talk about Caitlin Clark. She always puts those questions to the side. So obvious that she does not want the Caitlin Clark attention. So that's where I wanted to start this episode. It's fresh. That's the point that we have for the WNBA. It's just built so much. Caitlin getting there. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk NBA at some point. Our Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I just thought this headline to start the WNBA season was pretty much one of the biggest headlines of the weekend in sports.
So I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because I don't want to make it a story. I think I've spoken to you in the past. I like both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Admittedly, I will say Caitlin Clark, there is no comparison to her and Angel Reese. I feel like a lot of this attention.
There is for Angel Reese. Andre Drummond. Which I feel like a complete. That's not a complete insult, by the way.
No, I don't think so. I think that's a fair comparison. They're both extremely good. Like Angel Reese is an excellent rebounder, regardless if it's her own shot or not, which it usually is. She still cleans up on the offensive glass. She just can't finish. Andre Drummond, kind of the same deal. But I feel like I want to be honest about Angel Reese too. Like her reaction to that foul, to me, if it looked like, watching the game, it looked like Caitlin Clark was reaching for the ball and tried to swipe out. Intentional foul. We see it all the time. And I think that I felt like it was sold quite a bit by Angel Reese. So as much as I don't think she wants the attention and I don't think she wants to be connected to Caitlin Clark, she certainly doesn't shy away in the moment from playing up to the tension. So I don't know. I think that it's one of those things where they are their own players, but let's be frank here. Caitlin Clark's the better player. She's the one driving the WNBA forward. It does not matter what Angel Reese says in terms of that, where she said, "Oh, there's two players here at play." Unfortunately, that's just not the case. Angel Reese is what she is. She's a great rebounder, probably the best rebounder in the WNBA. But outside of that, it just ends there, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't want to make this a story. I don't think it should be a story. I think it was a routine foul that Angel Reese made something it shouldn't. And to be fair, neither one of them spoke about it afterwards.
If this were hockey, would this be a story?
Probably. This would be a real rink.
In what regard, though? In what regard? Because hockey,
does this remind you of the 1996 brawl between the Colorado Avalanche and the Detroit Red Wings?
No,
definitely.
Where both sides truly feel like they're in the right, even though it's like Angel Reese started it, right?
Yeah. Well, she started the shoving match. She thought she was fouled rather roughly there, and that's why.
Going back to last year.
She started it when LSU beat Iowa in the NCAA tournament, and she showed Caitlin Clark her ring finger and said she's getting a ring. That's what started the rival between the two. And Reese was dominant during that tournament, and she continued to be dominant throughout college basketball. But I mean, we're talking about Caitlin Clark, who is the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball history. Came in and was the rookie of the year in the WNBA. Led a team, an Indiana Fever team, to the playoff during her first season in the league. And now they added pieces, and she looks dominant. The other night she's a lock for more 3+ 3-pointers a game. She's a lock for pretty much 10 assists a game. She showed that she can rebound the ball last night, and the 9 times she's gotten a triple-double. I mean, no one's, like Mike said, no one's comparing to what Caitlin Clark is. But the reason they want to make this a storyline is because it's carrying over from, the women's college basketball and what happened there. And they want the WNBA ratings to be higher. That's why this was an opening night game between the two of them. And every time something like this happens, the spotlight is going to fall on it. So a hard foul from Caitlin Clark, that's going to be the story of the weekend right there. But in some sense, it's, I don't know, like when LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony came up to the league. I think everybody said by far LeBron James was going to be the guy for the next 20 years in NBA. And, Carmelo Anthony could be an all-star for, that whole time. But it was known from the start that he wasn't going to be LeBron James in the eyes of the media. And the same thing's kind of happening here. The difference between the two players is Carmelo Anthony kind of went about his business. He didn't start shoving matches with LeBron. He pretty much was friendly with LeBron. They had a friendly competition between the two of them. Here, it's a little different. I don't know. Is it too much me saying that maybe the pressure of trying to keep up with what Caitlin Clark is accomplishing is kind of getting to Angel Reese in some ways?
I think it boils down to jealousy, being completely transparent and honest. Like I said, I'm a fan of both, but it's to me this is a form of jealousy. Caitlin Clark, for all intents and purposes, I don't think she's ever screamed, "I want the spotlight," or "I'm the best," or "I deserve this and that." Angel Reese has gone to the media and clearly tried to bring the attention to herself, and I commend her because you know what, I'm sure she's made a bunch of money saying the things she said. But my concern, and just to change a little bit with Angel Reese, is she's really got to like Caitlin Clark is probably gonna be the best scorer in the WNBA, and she's probably gonna be the best all around player sooner rather than later in the WNBA. And I just want like Angel Reese needs to find something to cling to outside of this, and running to the media, acting a fool in the game, which she did. I mean, I like aggressive play, but that was stupidity, and it was very. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it was unnecessary. She's got to find she's really got to hone her talents, and if she wants to stay, because the talent coming up in the WNBA now, you got Paige Beckers this year. Next year you'll have the girl from UCLA, not UCLA. Is it USC the center or is it UCLA center? Whatever. And the year after that you got Juju Watkins. Like she'll wash out and she'll be lost, because better players are coming along. But yeah, I think it boils down to jealousy. She wants what Caitlin Clark has. I'm sure she knows that she's not a bad player. She's an inferior player. And I think it does bother her that she doesn't have that attention. And I'm sure she's not getting the endorsements and all this other stuff that Caitlin Clark is. So I'm going to say it boils down to jealousy. But in long term, she needs to get over it. And she needs to hone her skill and be good at what she does, kind of like Carmelo did. Carmelo arguably is one of the best offensive scoring talents the NBA has ever seen. Was he LeBron James? No. But he made a name for himself his own way, didn't care. And I thought that was a very fair comparison that you gave there between the two. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. And going back to Joe's hockey thing, because I think they did come up around the same time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, because you know a little more about hockey than I do. But this is kind of like Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby coming up at the same time.
Yeah, within a couple of years of each other. I think that's the rivalries there. Yeah, for sure. I think that's fair. Yep.
Yeah, so it was in like a more like current time for NHL. I think that's kind of what we're seeing between the two.
Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux played on the same team.
They did, right?
Yeah, that's for like wild. A year, right?
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Crosby, like neither of them are showing any signs of slowing down.
No, Crosby and Ovi had big resurgent years this year, but anyway.
Well, let's transition over. I want to stick on basketball. Our team's out in hockey.
Knicks and six. Knicks and six.
Knicks and six. I want to start out by saying.
By the way, guys, it's Patrick Roy, not Patrick Roy. So
yes,
it is. That is correct.
Just letting everybody know.
Goaltender, right?
Yeah, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
If not the best to ever do it.
Probably, maybe.
Not that we should talk hockey, but we should at least get that right.
Yes.
So. Yeah, you should spell his fucking name differently. That's stupid.
Anyway, New York Knicks, baby.
Like a silent Q or something?
UI anything. ROY is Roy.
Yeah.
If you're going to play in America, that's Roy.
Roy Williams.
Great cowboy.
Yeah. Okay, but Knicks. I want to get out of the way. It's been 25 years since the Knicks have been in this position where they've made an Eastern Conference Finals. And let me say something. This has been a long 25 years. I don't have the graphic in front of me. Mike, you sent me that on social media, but some of those lineups over the years were really rough, and it was hard to watch.
If you have a second, I want to pull it up because that was my favorite thing that I've sent you over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, search it while I'm talking, just so we don't have any dead air here. But I mean,
we don't have to. By the way, I'm on the podcast too, so it's not dead air. And number two, Mike doesn't need to bring up fucking asshole. Mike doesn't need to bring up these lineups.
Joe, can you remember
us to relive?
I need to bring these lineups up.
Dave, I'm sure you and I could rattle off 70% of the shit lineups that we've seen since the Isaiah Thomas era started.
We've come so far that like while in the moment none of those line up, like obviously it was very embarrassing as a franchise. I think we can all agree that the better part of 2001 to 2022 whatever were pretty bad. Yeah. But like it's funny to look back now and see these lineups and say like look where we are compared to them. Because some of those, honestly, if you would have asked me in 2000, let's just say 2020, where I felt about the Knicks, like, dude, it was awful.
2013 was pretty good.
We've had short moments in the sun.
Yeah.
But the worst were the lineups. Like, I'd rather have a lineup that you know is shit, but there were ones where we had guys like Jamal Crawford and Stephon Marbury and Al Harrington and Nate Robinson who can go off for like 40, and we could beat some like 30-win team. And then we're like, oh, we're only 7 games out of the playoffs now. And that's the kind of hope we were holding on to for 5 or 6 years at a time.
Yeah, I'd rather it just be over from like the middle of the season and know that we're tanking for a draft pick than that like circumstance that you're talking about. I did really like Jamal Crawford when he was with the Knicks. I thought he had some good seasons with them, but it was like B squad. What like our G League team probably looks like. Some of these lineups were. It was embarrassing. But the one thing that I am thankful for is Jalen Brunson is a New York Knick. I mean, they started making the playoffs with Julius Randle. We have to give him a lot of props, and we will talk about Julius Randle at some point because we're going to talk about the Timberwolves facing off against the Oklahoma City Thunder, which the Thunder closed out on Game 7 today against the Nuggets. But, man, like, this resilient nature started last season with Brunson in that group. When they went down with injuries, they still took the Pacers to Game 7. It was an ugly Game 7 for the Knicks, but nonetheless, with 4 or 5 injuries to key players, they still battled to the end. And now we see it where a lot of people were on their case after the Pistons series. They thought they should have played a lot better. They thought they should have closed out the Pistons earlier in that, or at least beat them pretty good in some of those games. And they kept them close every single time. This series, the first 2 games, they go down by 20. They come back and win. And then after the Tatum injury, they lose Game 5. It was a pretty bad showing from the Knicks. I myself was nervous. I didn't know what we were going to get in Game 6. And then they come out and they win by 40 points. So that resilient nature, having somebody like Brunson, and I was watching videos of him like as a 10-year-old today, and his dad making him do like this through the legs free throw shot and just working until he was like pretty much crawling on the court. It seemed like he was so tired. I mean, that's a guy who leads by example at all times, always says the right thing in the media, just a hard worker. He's never going to give up on your team. I mean, Brunson's just an easy guy to cheer for, an easy guy to love. Personally, as I'm not just saying it because I'm in the current moment, but one of my favorite Knicks of all time, probably just because of how hard he always works on the court every single night.
Is he above Latrell Sprewell?
I don't know.
I know you got a soft spot for him. Yeah,
I got to be honest. Brunson's my favorite. Like, he's just, to me, for my favorite Knick of all time. Actually, I think that's a good conversation we should all talk about. Like leading up to this, I'm going to say mine was probably either Melo. Jamal Crawford, growing up in Brooklyn, was really exciting at the time, but Jalen Brunson surpassed all of that for me. Just being completely honest, I'd like to hear who your favorite Knick of all time was too, Dugan. Obviously,
Dave DeBusschere.
Okay.
There it is.
Steve, what was yours?
Wait, was that a serious response, Jeff?
It definitely wasn't. That's why I'm glancing over it.
It was Nate Robinson. When we sucked, Nate Robinson was my favorite.
He was exciting.
When we sucked. Because it's not that he would score. He would like high five Will Ferrell. He would start screaming at people.
Yeah.
You would have no idea you were looking at like a 13-35 team,
Dunk over Yao Ming.
Yeah.
I remember I fully invested in Anthony Randolph as a young kid.
You don't have much to choose
he was
from.
the guy.
If we're going by people we watched. Sorry. Anthony Randolph.
I really like when they traded for him. I honestly was like, "This is like a young guy coming from the war." I was like, "This is it. Like, we're gonna be all right."
Oh, boy, Randolph was nice for us.
Zach Randolph was very nice. That is true. He was very nice. Al Harrington had moments for the couple years he was here, but yeah,
his head was shaped like a basketball, though. He had like those weird grooves in his head.
He did have weird grooves in his head.
That didn't sit right with me.
Growing up in New York, obviously as a little kid, like Stephon Marbury used to be super exciting. Like, everyone loved him. We had like good players. We just never had enough good players at any given time.
Past their prime, though, a lot of them. Like Marbury, played well on the Knicks, but he had his best years on like the Suns.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Remember we got
To answer
Steve
your
Francis.
question, Stoudemire for those 3 months was like a
Outstanding.
top 5 offensive guy in the league. I was a huge fan of him when he was on Phoenix because I love those teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously Melo is a better player for us.
Yeah, but he started.
And-
We're the only reason he got Melo was because Stoudemire came here and believed in it. To be fair,
Yeah,
Stoudemire is a
it
guy
was-
that should be viewed very favorably by Knicks fans.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
It
will
was
say,
LeBron consolation prize, basically.
yeah, he was. I think, like going back to like who my favorites were, I just started getting into the Knicks around when they were that underdog team that like overachieved and made the NBA Finals that 1 year, and then they lost the next year to the Pacers, I think, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I loved those teams, and that's what got me into the Knicks. And then they kind of like played with me because shortly after that they sucked. And I remember like coming home from school and watching some of those Knicks teams from right after that with like Marcus Camby and stuff, and they were just brutal. But I will always have a love for Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell because of those teams that made the Eastern Conference Finals and the the NBA championship. But I also really I liked Camby. I liked J.R. Smith a lot. He reminded me of something you would throw on this current Knicks team because he hustles to every ball. He's like a Josh Hart to me of that team, that Knicks team with Carmelo Anthony. I liked him. He was always up there for me.
You know what I
But,
like most about J.R. Smith is he's played for so many teams and he still roots for the Knicks. Like he's been very, very, very vocal about the Knicks during this playoff run. Like that's cool to see. It's cool to see. Like we'll all remember watching games. When's the last time you watched but previous to let's say last year, or even the year before? When's the last time you watched a game where they had all the legends out? Like when's the last time all the legends showed up for a Knicks game? Like it is so freaking cool having that Legends Row or whatever now. It is so exciting now. Like I like genuinely, oh god, the city is electric because of them. Like they're doing what no other sports team in the city could drive the city to do. Like this is so special. And even if I honestly, I pray we win the Eastern Conference Finals, but if we don't, like this is so special. Like I can't even compare this. And I've seen World Series. You guys have seen Super Bowls. Like this is so crazy compared. I'm not saying it's
see
bigger.
that many at the Lakers games.
What was that?
I don't even see like what you're talking about.
Oh,
I don't see that many at the Lakers games.
Not
unless they're
anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. No, the Knicks, like I said, and a lot of that. You know what? We were actually saying this. I think Steve had texted me this. Dolan's really kind of made a turnaround. You know, he pushed a lot of those guys away. He really did. And he's kind of made an about face, and now they're starting to come back. But like that's special. You should have those guys, especially for this series, where the Pacers do have something like that, where their legends do come out. Reggie Miller will be everywhere come Wednesday night. You know, like this is big, and I think it needs to be shown. And I want, and it's awesome. Like I said, no, I can't explain another team that does it like this right now in New York. Like I am so hyped up.
who's the bigger celebrity for the Knicks, Ben Stiller or Timothy Chalamet?
Timothy Chalamet. It's Timothy Chalamet. 100%. That dude, I don't even know much about his movies. He's a G.
Yeah, that video of him like out the car, like the people dragging him into the crowd, practically. That was hilarious.
You guys
Apparently
don't even
he's-
like Dune, and you're
Apparently
saying that.
he grew up in Manhattan as a diehard fan his whole life. And you know what? He is. I love it. The more we get, the better it is. I love it.
Yeah, there's a picture of him getting Stoudemire's autograph in like 2010.
Yeah, there was something that came out on the news about he was partying with the Knicks after the win too. So
that's in my notes. Actually, the story was it was him. I forget who else was at that party, but apparently they offered the Knicks like champagne bottles, and the Knicks players are so locked in that they turned down all the like bottle service that they were getting because
That's awesome.
they're on to the next series. They're already thinking about the Pacers, and I think that is sitting with the Knicks. How they lost last year to the Pacers, how this team dismissed them, how the Knicks have been kind of. I hate to say it.
I don't
Knicks
think we
have been
dismissed
the
them.
entire playoff.
Maybe the fan bases did. I don't think Knicks dismissed them. They were too injured, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, well, to be fair, I know the Knicks are favored this series, but I still feel like we're the underdog. And I think I've said that to you. Like, I'm scared of the Pacers. I am. But I know that if the Knicks, I feel like, have not outside of the last game, game 6 where they won by, whatever it was. Like, I still don't feel like they've put together that marquee game yet, and I'm hoping it comes this series where they just stomp it out. But I do feel like while we are favored, I feel very much like the underdog team still, and I know Pacers fans definitely dismiss us 100%. You go on the forums and stuff on Bleacher, and even if you go on Reddit, they are absolutely looking past us, the fan base. And I'm not saying the players are, but let them.
Well, NBA subreddits are a bunch of mongoloids. They're not gonna have objective opinions.
I like it.
Sorry.
I like it.
I'm
I like
actually
to
more nervous.
talk shit, so that's why.
I'm more nervous about this series because I think like I have more hope because we have home court advantage. Like Celtics, I felt like it was sort of not house money because we already made it that far, but we were such heavy underdogs. I was like, if we can just push them to 6, make it competitive. And I was thinking that when the season started, I was like, if we run to the Cavs or the Celtics, I just want us to at least be competitive. But with this Pacers thing, like this is an opportunity that I would consider like a blown opportunity if we lose for the second year in a row.
Yeah, I don't know. I have more confidence. I'm not. I think I've said to several people that I think this is gonna be a harder series than the Celtics series, and that's even pre the Jason Tatum getting hurt and all that. I just think that the Pacers and the Knicks play hard. It is a rivalry. It's always been a rivalry. Even during the dog years, it was not. It was still it was a rivalry. I genuinely my biggest concerns are Halliburton tends to really shine. Like he loses his shine when he plays the Knicks, so he's actually not even who I'm concerned about. But last year they didn't have Matherin. Now they got Matherin, who I think is a very good scorer. I'm missing the center that lit us up. What's his face? Help me out, Dugan. Turner.
Turner.
Miles Turner. Absolutely terrifying. He's a rim protector, and he shoots threes. I think that I'm assuming it's gonna be Cat that covers him obviously most time. Mitch Robb, I'm not too concerned about defense wise with him, but I'm worried about Cat, stepping out and actually having to guard the perimeter with him. And yeah, Matherin's to me the Matherin. If they beat us, it's gonna be because Matherin went off, and I think he can go off. So
I'm a big guard Siakam then.
Who's guarding Siakam? I would think have to be OG.
Yeah, I was going to ask
that's
that.
solid.
What do you think the defensive matchups are this series? Because it was pretty clear that OG was going to be on Tatum during the Celtics series, and then you're probably going to put Bridges against Jalen Brown. But this series, I don't even know. Like Siakam's probably going to get one of them. But like, are you just going to put Brunson on Halliburton, or will you put Bridges?
No. I think Bridges. I think you'd have to put Bridges on Halliburton. Why you don't waste that long frame? Put him out there, let him play. I think it's going to be, like I said, OG on Siakam, and then like I said, you'll get your rotation of Turner will get Mitch Robb and Cat. God, who's the only thing is I don't know who. Like, what do you do with Brunson? I don't know. The only guarantees
TJ
I think
McConnell.
would be. What was that? Yeah, that's true. TJ. Yeah, but is he starting
He's
right
the
now?
only one I feel comfortable with.
No, he's off the bench.
No, he's a bench player.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
going
to be an interesting one
because they have size.
Yeah,
that's true.
The only
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
The only thing that has me a little more confident this year is that we definitely improved our defense. I mean, just bringing Bridges in, like that's another OG type that you're throwing their way. And you do kind of have to put one of them on Halliburton because he has that quick release from 3. And if he gets hot, the Knicks are in trouble. And he always shines under pressure. The only reason I would think that, like, I don't know, like Halliburton is more of like a pass first point guard, in my opinion. He's looking for the assist most of the time. So I don't know if you consistently waste one of your star defensive players on someone who's looking to pass the ball when he gets the rock. But yeah, I mean, Halliburton, when he's on, he can score with the best of them. But when he's off, he's cold. He's really cold. So it should be interesting in that regard. I mean, the Pacers are playing their best basketball of the year at the right time. The one thing that's unfortunate, in my opinion, is so both the Cavs and Celtics had injuries. The Cavs, I don't think Darius Garland was ever 100%, but he tried to play through it. I don't think Evan Mobley was 100% either. He came back because they lost the first 2 games to the Pacers in the series, or lost the first game. I forget what it was that happened, but
First 2.
I think they came back early, but a lot of nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking that the Pacers dominated the best team in basketball this season. And then with the Knicks Celtics series, everyone's talking about how Tatum went down, even though the Knicks were about to go up 3-1 in that series when Tatum went down. The other thing that there was a story that came out recently that Jalen Brown was playing with a partial torn meniscus. So a lot of Celtics fans use that as ammunition the past few days to say that, oh, our two-star players were technically not themselves. And that was something that was being talked about in the first round against the Magic. Jalen Brown did not have a good first round against the Orlando Magic. But I don't know if you can use that. Like, Brown was the reason they won Game 5. Him and Derek White, they both went off. And then, of course, Cornette had a really good game. But, I mean, Brown was playing some good basketball. He fouled out in Game 6. I think he was their leading scorer when he fouled out. So it didn't knock him off the court. It didn't knock him out of their game plan, that partially torn meniscus.
Yeah, my biggest thing is why is it even brought up now? Nobody brought it up beforehand. Everyone, the Celtics. So they were favored even when we were up. Were they favored before the? Yeah, they were favored going into that game where Tatum got hurt, right? Still to win the series.
Yeah,
like heavily.
100.
There was, yeah. I mean, like, I hate to say that they're making the Celtics. I don't think it's them making excuses, but I hate to say the media is making excuses, but it certainly feels that way. And it to me that's real crappy. But whatever, for lack of a better term, fuck them.
Joe, what were you saying?
I said nobody in the playoffs is ever 100%. Like, the Tatum thing's an extreme, but if we're talking about a guy who's banged up but still gutting through it, like, look at Aaron Gordon today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people usually play in the playoffs if they're even able to, and it's not going to ruin their career.
Definitely. I'm curious. Is you obviously we all watched every game closely during this series against the Celtics. But Joe, what did you see in Game 6 that really led to the Knicks running away with that game and winning by essentially 40 points? What was different from the first 5 games where the Knicks were really scratching and clawing to come back in games and win them? This game, it seemed like there was some comfort. There was some ease in this game.
I mean, they didn't rely on Brunson for long stretches. I mean, Cat had 20 points by the middle of the third quarter, and that's kind of what you want from him. Josh Hart was finally starting to hit some shots. That's huge. Mikal Bridges has either been like our second best player or like just a guy who looks like he's struggling out there. So I don't know. Like, it's like everybody clicked, and the Celtics weren't making 50% of their threes like they were in games 3 and 4, 3 through 5, basically.
Yeah.
But we were up by 40 at one point. I remember watching Oklahoma City, Memphis, and the Pacers Cavs series, and I was just like, how nice must it be to be up by 40 in a playoff game and be able to sit back and relax? Because at that point, that Pistons series was just a heart attack every game. The Celtics series, the first 2 games were heart attacks, and then we got our shit pushed in. So it was kind of nice for this kind of game to happen to us. I mean, for it to happen in our biggest game in 25 years is even better. But just for, like Mike said, maybe not a perfect game by us, but this was as close to a complete game as we've had in the last 12 playoff games that we played.
And to be completely fair, the tight games that we play, they do breed confidence as a fan. While they're not enjoyable and they are really hard to sit and watch, anytime we've gotten into the fourth, like we were sitting when we did the live stream, essentially the live stream of this, and Dugan said, if they get it to within 12, they've got a shot in the fourth. Like, that's confidence. I know we were all being a little, facetious, but it's the truth. This Knicks team is so battle tested right now. They are a playoff, like if the Pacers don't put it away, the Knicks will absolutely steamroll them in the fourth. And I mean that. Like like I said to you, if you make it an ugly dogfight type game, the Knicks are going to win. You got to beat us fundamentally across the board if you want to beat us. And you may blow us out, but at the end of the day, if you leave it close in the fourth, the Knicks will win. And to me, like, I don't think there's another team in the playoffs currently that has the playoff resume in terms of close wins that we have currently. Like, I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane if you think about it. Like, again, if we can get to the fourth and, we're within 5, we're up 5, whatever it is, we're closers. The Knicks, I'm not on the court yet, but the Knicks are closers. I have confidence.
Yeah, I like what Joe said about Cat too. I mean, Cat, when he decided to drive against the Celtics, they could put 2 or 3 bodies in front of him and make all this contact, and he was still getting to the hoop with ease. So that
Using
type of
his
Cat,
left,
I'm sorry.
using his left too.
Yeah, that was nice to see. Because he wasn't in this game. He wasn't hitting his 3 pointers. He took a few of those deep threes. They weren't going in, and I would really like for Cat not to rely on that. I would like. I've been asking for this because in the Pistons series, he was doing like that off balance 2 point shot, and I was like, why is he doing that? That's not an efficient shot right there. And I think he just couldn't get to the hoop because we talked about this where the Pistons were trailing a player as like a quote unquote double team type situation. But like when Cat got the ball and he was like, I'm just driving to the hoop and I don't care if I run someone over against the Celtics, that's when it was working for him. And that confidence was growing for him because then you saw him like, high five someone in the front row and like do the little thing where he flexes in front of everyone.
Zesty
You,
Cat.
you saw the confidence growing for Cat. And that
That
that's
last
the,
spice.
that's the Carl Anthony Towns we've been waiting for. Like, if he does that against the Pacers, I don't think they have anyone who can stop him on the Pacers either. So,
He's
I
going to be
mean,
the biggest difference maker we have.
no, 100%. We really need the reason we brought Cat in wasn't for him to just star by himself. We really need Brunson and Cat to both go off. Like they need to have a complete game together, and we really haven't been seeing that in the playoffs. We saw it during the regular seasons, but one game Brunson has a really good game, then the other Cat does. It wasn't like both of them going off. And this most recent game, they both had pretty good games. But you know who's been the difference maker? Apparently, every time OG scores like above 20 points, the Knicks win. So if he doesn't have a night where he's going like 1 of 8 from the field or 2 of 11 or something, uh, they're usually in a pretty good spot because he's clicking on both sides of the court. He's playing great defense. He's scoring 20+ points. Like can't ask for something better. He's our third best player on the court probably when he's playing like that. So uh, I think along with Cat, OG is probably another difference maker for the Knicks. Like we need to really rely on both those players to come ready to play. And OG did have what was that game against the Pacers last year where he had like 30+ points? He was just hitting like every 3 pointer. You remember that game?
That was the game he got hurt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He went off and then he got hurt at the end in the fourth in that game. What was that game 2 or 3?
It was early in the series.
Yeah.
Was,
Either
I'm
way,
such a shit man when it comes to that.
he you know what? It's I feel like he's a forgotten man a lot of times, and it's easy to see why he's a forgotten man. Villanova Knicks obviously, but yeah, no, I liked he played. Like I said, I'm excited because if I remember correctly, he shut down Siakam in that early on in that series. The Knicks just weren't healthy. Like we just weren't healthy. Like you said, we were very, very battle. We were hurt. Obviously, we lost Hart, Brunson, OG. It was bad. But anyway, yeah, I Cat, OG, and even Bridges. Like I said, to a bigger degree, he's gonna have to play a big part of this series as well. Which, by the way, I just want to make it known that running across the court, floating jump shot fadeaway thing he hits is nasty. I don't know how you defend that. And he's so consistent with it. Like it goes against everything fundamental about basketball, but he's amazing at it.
is that Josh
He's
Hart?
officially earned back.
No, I'm talking about
3.5 of those
Michael
picks.
Bridges, where he'll get the ball and run through the paint and look for that fadeaway like jumper that he hits, but he hits it like I don't know what his percentages on it, but it feels like it's 70-80%.
Hart tries to do that too, though, where he runs the court and he's like, I'm just not passing this. I can't.
Oh no,
slow
well
down.
he hits the floater. Like his big thing's a floater or starting his own breakaways. I'm talking about where Bridges will like be driving through the paint and then he'll run out and literally turn around and hit a jumper. Like
Yeah.
and he's like 70% at it. It's disgusting.
Yeah, he was hitting some threes too, which is like important in Game 6. It just looked like a lot of people had their confidence going. But I mean, the storyline. There's so many fun storylines with this Knicks team coming up. The rematch against the Pacers, but also the history that we saw against the Knicks and Pacers in the '90s. Like we're bringing back history here, and we saw the heated conversation between like Josh Hart, who I think was messing around with Reggie Miller, but Miller took that personally, and he went to Instagram after the Pacers closed out the Knicks and had like a long like post about how the Knicks are nothing, essentially. But If the Knicks do get past the Pacers and the Timberwolves somehow beat, OKC, that's going to be a fun storyline too. Mike, you started making a few points about it, but I mean, I forgot about this. Tom Thibodeau was a coach there, I think, at one point. So it's a chance for revenge against them. Which that won't be the big storyline. Obviously, it's going to be the Julius Randle versus Cat. I don't want to jump forward too much. It's a Pacers next series right now. Let's take it one game at a time. But there could.
I'm already thinking, can we repeat next year?
That's fair. This is the chance. Well, I know you're joking. Like NBA champions, like repeat.
You're saying, when do Knicks fans ever have the chance to think ridiculously like this? Let's enjoy
Not
it.
very often. But I do have a serious question.
I think a three-peat might be on the table if we draft right. I don't know.
Yep. Just to further that conversation, if we do get through the Pacers, what team would you rather see? The Wolves and
I was about to say Denver.
I'm talking about for a Knicks win. What team would you rather see? Would it be the Wolves or
Minnesota? Minnesota. All day. I would rather see them.
I agree.
So I would say Minnesota.
I don't think we'd be favored against either.
No,
but Minnesota.
But that home court would be huge.
Well, no. Oklahoma City is historically great. They underperformed massively in this. They might just had their youth showing, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
LeRoy Butler interview, which is coming up right now.
Yes.
Yeah. we'll go into the interview. I was going to joke and say, did you see what Trae Young tweeted today about?
We'll get after the. We'll talk about that after the interview.
I didn't, but
Oklahoma City's home court is better than the MSG and the Knicks. But he
might be right.
I don't know. Yeah, but it's also, I think, smaller, their arena. So
not the atmosphere, but Oklahoma City also has a better team, so they would obviously have a better winning percentage.
Yeah.
But
all right, let's jump into the interview. So we had I know we're not talking much football today, but we had legendary defensive back LeRoy Butler on. He played for the Green Bay Packers in the 90s. He's a Hall of Famer, won a Super Bowl with them. It turned into a really long conversation, actually, but it was fun, and we're thankful for his time. So let's shoot it over there, and then we'll talk probably Western
top
Conference.
3 interview, easily.
Yeah, so we're real excited about this one. We have LeRoy Butler with us. A lot of you know him for the 90s as Green Bay Packers great at cornerback in the secondary, won a Super Bowl with them, Hall of Famer. Just a lot of
you
great
should have said Hall of Famer first.
Yeah,
it's like media. It's media 101. That's how you introduce.
Well, just don't forget it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Don't finish the intro before you say it.
I was actually thinking about that when I was like coming up with my questions and doing some of my research and stuff like that. Like, where do you put the Hall of Fame on the list of your accomplishments? Is that number 1 for you?
That's a good question. No, it's not number 1. Because you never think you'll reach that goal.
Yeah.
So it was I said to me, it was a Super Bowl. And here's why. I know people saying, yeah, that's because he's already in. That's why he won't say that. But I want them to hear me out, though. If you can get 50 guys to all put their differences aside, their race, their religion, kids, wives, side pieces, or if you want, I don't judge nobody. If you could put all that aside to where you swipe a key card, one team, one dream. That's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So to me, that accomplishment was very emotional. That's why guys cry when they win the Super Bowl. And I didn't kiss the trophy. That was disgusting. But I thought about it. But that's me.
You can see the fingerprints on it even through NFL films. It always looks really dirty.
It's really nasty. But I'm not a germaphobe. But when you see that trophy and you see Lombardi on it, to me, that was next level. So the Hall of Fame, to me, I said it in my speech, that's like when you win championships in Green Bay, doors open up for you. When you are all pro, doors open up. But when you get in the Hall of Fame, football heaven opens up. So that's the thought process in coming up with that. So that was a good question.
Yeah, actually, fun fact. So Joe and I grew up in a town called Middletown, New Jersey, and
Okay.
you know who's buried there?
No.
Oh yeah.
A
Vince
legendary
Lombardi.
coach, Vince Lombardi, is buried in our
Really?
hometown.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. I didn't find out till I was like 20. I figured like you're sort of should find that out when you're born. Vince Lombardi's like resting right down the road.
yeah. The
Yeah.
coolest thing about
Crazy.
that is around the Super Bowl every year,
Mhm.
people stop by his grave and like just put like
Really?
memorabilia by his grave and like
Yeah, like
different like flowers and notes and stuff like that.
Packers
It's the
plushies.
coolest thing.
That's yeah, I never knew that. My aunt lives in Plainsfield, New Jersey. I have no idea what it is compared to that, but so
About a half hour.
we got some Giants fans in my family. Uh, the Jets fans, they all just went to Giants. They just gave up. But and some
Smart.
Philly, and some Philly, and the rest are Packers and sprinkle with the other teams. But
They have to
I
be.
never knew that. It's good to know that because I always get a lot of Packer trivia everywhere I go. Trivia. So if that ever comes up, I'm gonna
You
give
know
y'all
it.
credit. Yes,
Yeah, you'll remember this podcast.
absolutely.
You bring up the Jets fans. One thing that we always talk about with Jets fans being from around here is they
Yes.
haven't won since '69. But when you guys won, was there a lot of pressure for you just sticking on the Super Bowl? Because obviously the Packers are storied for winning the first two ever. But
Yeah.
after that, there was a little bit of a drought up until '96 when you finally got back. And it's just such a like historic franchise, like just amazing all around. There's so much to that franchise. Everybody talks about like the wait list for season tickets and everything. The fans are passionate there, but I'm sure with passion
Yeah.
comes expectations and a short leash and everything, so and limited
Yes.
patience when it comes to the team. Um, do you feel like there was any pressure like leading up to that Super Bowl win?
Well, when I got there in 1990, the team, I mean, wasn't very good. We were like 6-10, I think. It wasn't my fault though. And then we were 4-12, and people were like, here we go. But when we got Brett, and then we got Reggie White,
Yeah,
yeah, it was pressure. Of course. Yes. Because we had three first team all pros. And really, to be honest with you guys, in the 90s, there's only three teams that dominated: the Cowboys, San Francisco, and the Packers. But for a while, it was just Dallas and San Francisco, and we broke in there like a stretch, 94 going into night until 1998. So yes, and then when we finally beat, shout out to Kerry Collins, the quarterback for the Panthers. They got an expansion team in Carolina coming into Lambeau. It's freezing, and matter of fact, I think they beat the Cowboys to get there because we was waiting for them to get some payback, but they weren't good enough to make it. But I'm gonna keep talking on that. I saw a sign when we beat them to go to the Super Bowl. It said 30 years of misery has ended. We're going to the Super Bowl. And that's when it hit me. It's like, these fans. See, our fans are different because we don't have an owner. We have shareholders. And when we're going around shaking hands, it hits different. All fan bases are passionate about their team because without the fan, let's be honest, we're nobody. Because y'all got millions of downloads. I've looked up y'all algorithm. Y'all one of the best podcasts of all time. So you have to give them good content. So
I always say that.
you got to produce. And that's when it was, yes, it was pressure. And I think that pressure is good. I have no problem with that.
yeah. A lot of people talk about how like today is known for passing, how we have transitioned over from the running game to the passing game. It's a big part of what the NFL is now in the offense. But you brought up a really cool point. Like San Francisco was one of the dominant teams. Dallas
yeah.
Cowboy was one of the dominant teams. I mean, Cowboys had Emmitt Smith, which was great. But if you think about those teams, the Niners had Jerry Rice, and then they transitioned over to Terrell Owens eventually. The Cowboys had Michael Irvin. I mean, just some great receivers came from the 90s. Great quarterbacks came from the 90s that, are probably top 5, top 10 quarterbacks of all time, even. What was it like facing some of those guys?
Oh man, that's another good one. See, because think about the three quarterbacks: Aikman, Steve Young, who's one of my best friends, and Brett Favre. Three Hall of Famers, and in each way they were good at something. Troy Aikman, I don't ever remember Troy Aikman throwing an interception. I don't remember him this after when they were terrible his first year. Put that to the side. I'm saying when they got like really good. I don't remember Troy Aikman missing a wide open guy. I mean, the guy was a machine. And Steve Young, somebody lied when they say white guys can't run. Child, please. Steve Young outrun the best of them. And his arm was way stronger than you think, but it was his accuracy that was unmatched. I mean, because a left-handed ball is a different trajectory. It really is. And it's just different. But if Jerry Rice only has this much room for his feet and his hands, Steve Young could throw it. Y'all weren't born, but I remember this commercial. They put a battery on a guy and say, "I dare you to knock it off." It's a tough guy. I, I was little when it was out. Steve Young from 40 yards can knock a battery off somebody's shoulder. And hitting nothing but the battery. Won't even hit nothing. And Brett Favre, there will never be another Brett Favre. I hate when they say to these guys, "Oh, he's a gunslinger." No, he's not. You have to have guts to make that throw between the linebacker over the safety's head and drop it in a bucket in front of a cornerback. When your coaches have told you, don't make that throw if this, and this. But in Brett's head, there's no brakes. It's all gas. I remember a story, he threw an interception in practice and he was upset. I said, whoa, don't do that. It's my job to get it back. Because on the rare occasion, don't go look it up. Somebody catch a touchdown on me, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna see that on Sports Center. Brett say, no, Roy Lee, I got you. Then he'll hit Sterling Sharp for a 60-yard bomb walk off against Detroit. They don't even show what I did. Football is the ultimate team sport. I love teamwork. And we wanted, and to wrap that part up about that question, but I know it's long, but it's a lot of passion going into it. Aikman is the face of the Cowboys. Young is the face of San Francisco. But our face was Reggie White. So Reggie White calls a meeting and he gets up. Guys, I just need to say something. I said, what's up, big dog? I know I make the speeches, but it's Brett Favre's team. Brett was in the back teaching me how to play backgammon. And I said, black people don't play backgammon. Well, let me show you how to. Huh? What? It meant they invoked your name. It's Brett Favre's team. That meant the world to Brett, and it meant the world to the team. Because Brett's not a rah-rah guy. He's not a speech. He just wants to play. Never missed a game. And that what made us that an ascending team, because your quarterback in the 90s was the face of your franchise, but Reggie was such a big, massive personality because he sued the league to be a free agent, and you came to the smallest market. And he said, this Brett Favre team. No guy would do that. With the narcissism that players have today, the arrogance, it's my team. No, it's mine. Brett Favre team. And Brett, you lead by going out there throwing 4 touchdowns and pump faking a guy and running it in. I'll give all the speeches, so there's no pressure on you. All you gotta do is play, and that's how we was able to win.
Just following up on Brett Favre. So he comes from the Falcons in 1991. Glanville more or less just thought of him as a guy with a big arm, not a lot of upside. 1992, he comes in, has that comeback against Cincinnati, which was sort of like his first big game. By 93, you guys are basically contenders. Was there like a specific moment? I mean, this could be about Favre, the team, where you thought, we're building something that could contend for a title, and this guy, Brett, is like a future Hall of Famer. Like, did it come immediately, or is it sort of like over time?
That's why I'm glad I came on y'all show. That's a platinum question. Y'all must got
Thank
these
you.
from y'all wives or girlfriends, because this is good stuff. When Brett Favre, this one I knew now. This is the truth, okay? Because sometimes a lot of hyperbole when I'm talking, but this is the truth. This is. And the reason why I'm glad you brought up Atlanta, we called it. Well, Ron Wolf called. We want your third string quarterback. We're gonna give you a first round pick. Oh, we got the Packers. No, you didn't. I played against Brett in college, and he still talks about it. He played Southern Miss. I came blitzing in. He threw a teardrop right over my fingers and scored the winning touchdown. But put that to the side. When he comes in the locker room, this is why Brett Favre, we call him Crew from the longest yard. Burt
All
Reynolds,
crew. Yep.
rest in peace. Burt Reynolds went to Florida State. In that movie, he's the man. So we call him Crew. But at that time, it was just Brett. And people didn't know how to spell his name. They called him Favor. But he comes in the locker room. This is why he the best. You got some African American guys playing spades over here. You got some of the white guys over here playing sheep's head. You got some of the younger guys playing Atari. Yes, we had Atari. And then you have some of the other guys playing country music. The other guys playing hip hop. Brett went to all the cultures and said, I got next. Man, you don't even know how to play spades. I got next. That's a teammate. Because when you come into a dip, see, I never had, and thank God, I've only played for one team. So it's hard when you're a first round pick, you're a Heisman Trophy candidate. Now they trade you, and you in your mind know you're better than these guys. And you in Atlanta, where it's not that far from Mississippi, but it's still south. You coming way north. But we're telling you, well, wait a minute. Don't y'all have Don Mikowski, the guy with the mullet, the best mullet since Joe Dirt? I never saw Joe Dirt? Come on, man. Joe Dirt had the best. But this is Magic Man. Don Mikowski. He got the cane on the poster, and he got, I mean, it went this whole thing. But now you come in and you in these meetings, you always pay attention, guys, because you never know when your number will be called. But it's the Magic Man. This guy's was everything. He goes down. When Brett ran on the field, I said, I'm not even worried. It was like, why? Brett Favre don't care. The throw he threw to Kendrick Taylor, nobody in the league can make that throw. Maybe in baseball, Nolan Ryan would do it. It was on a rope. When he made that throw, we got something. Yeah.
That's all it took.
Guys would not have tried that throw. And shout out to Kendrick Taylor who caught it, and it put us next level, and we was on our way. Because Mikowski hurt his shoulder, and he never could get back. Now, Mikowski had a great career. He went to Detroit, but Brett was ready, man. Because it was this stuff that people used to say about him. And it used to bother me. Oh, he doesn't study. He does. That's a lie. This guy was smart. You know why he was smart? He'll go to Sterling where you want it, on your hip in the red zone. He'll go to Antonio. Antonio, when you run that fade, where you want it? High and outside? Or you want to dig it out like a shortstop? I'm going to throw it to you how you want it. It's amazing.
Shannon Sharp always said that was the difference between John Elway and Trent Dilfer. Like Trent Dilfer would just try to get the ball in the area, but John Elway was just like, hey, it's going to be away from the defender and you're going to be able to catch it running, 20 miles per hour or whatever.
And you're not
Like,
going
and
to
that,
run into a safety or a
yeah.
linebacker to get hurt.
hmm
So they have these conversations, where you want it in the red zone. I love that. I love it. That guy was great, man. It was great.
Yeah, so just one more mention of the 96 season, obviously the championship season. I guess just a two-parter. You did mention you guys really wanted to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. Obviously, you won the Super Bowl, but it would have, I guess, in your mind, been perfect if you sort of like, had the passing of the torch moment where you guys sort of beat them down and sent them out of the 90s and you guys took over. And then the second part would be, I guess, just Super Bowl week in New Orleans or the game. Is there like a single image that comes to your mind when you think of, when you won the championship?
Thank you for that question. The thing about it, there's so many memories about the Cowboys because Dion, who was the guy I looked up to, I think we beat them at home like 42 to 13 or 14, whatever. They still had the triplets. Now people they water it down because we beat them. I think Dion even had a pick six in that game. And they had Emmett, who's one of my best friends in the world. Michael Irvin, one of my best friends in the world. Aikman, great guy. Emmett and the offensive line, like the Great Wall. They had all them and we beat them, but people always downplay. Now I couldn't help they couldn't beat Carolina to make it. But they weren't beating us then because we were at the top of our game. Because the year before, at their place, we had them on the ropes. But we turned the ball over in the fourth quarter and they were able to win because they were experienced. And they know how to sit back and that damn Larry Brown, man. I don't know where he at now. Larry Brown was amazing. Don't throw the ball over there by Brown. He's gonna pick that thing off.
You won MVP,
Off.
right? Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That guy was man. He didn't talk a lot. He wasn't bragging a lot like Dion and the Darryl Greens of the world, the top guys. The guy was a difference maker. So the following year we got back there, we would have beat them. We would have beat them.
Yeah, you
And
mentioned.
what was the other one? I'm sorry. What was the other one was?
Yeah,
The other
just a
question?
general, well, I guess, obviously just conjure up memories of the Super Bowl. Just like, I guess when you think of that
Yes.
Sunday, is there like a single
Oh,
image
yes,
that
yes.
comes to
Thank you.
mind
Thank you.
before any others?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I apologize, Stephen, because that meant a lot to me because I normally don't have a roommate. I think it's weird to sleep with a guy, okay? Because I like to get up 3:09 and go to the bathroom. And when I go in the bathroom, I don't have to wait because Edgar Bennett's in there and he's doing number two. I mean, dude, come on, man. And then he likes it warm in the room, like 77. I like that thing at 68, cuz I want it so cold in there, the abominable snowman can feel great.
That's a deal breaker. Yeah.
He get up, he'll turn it, make it warmer. I get up, make it cooler. But I love that moment though. But I remember our fan on Bourbon Street. Now I don't smoke, I don't drink. I'm naturally just crazy, I guess. But I wanted to go see the people down there with the beads. I just wanted to see our fans just really enjoy it after 30 years. And I just remember just just getting emotional. Like, this is amazing. This is the number one party place. It's not Vegas, it's New Orleans. And we were there against the Patriots, and you see all our fans just interacting and enjoying after all these years. And then the last thing, real quick about that, when we won the game, they gave us these purple hats, and they had the saxophone and the mask for Bourbon Street for Mardi Gras. Our fans didn't get it at first. I don't like this hat. It got purple because we're thinking Vikings. But wait a minute, guys. It ain't for us. It's for the culture. Oh, Marty. You can't find one now. People bought them up. I get very emotional about that. So that brings back a lot of memories, seeing how happy our fans were after that game. I mean, it was truly amazing. Matter of fact, me and Brett and Eugene Robinson and a few of the guys next week, maybe 30 of us, having a golf tournament. And that's one of the first things we're going to talk about. People didn't get it at the first Super Bowl 31. And it was just so much, it was amazing.
Where's this golf tournament?
It's in the Wisconsin Dells area. And we're doing some stuff in Madison and in the Wisconsin Dells area. We're going to stay in the Dells and we're going to play golf in Madison. It's like a 2-day event. And it raises money for like 10 charities.
Okay.
Oh,
and I'm doing my own just breaking news. I mean, no one knows this but you guys.
Here comes the breaking news jingle.
Yeah. We don't have a budget for the like typewriter stuff, but
We're getting there.
yeah, thank you. We'll come back on and talk about it maybe in the future. I'm doing you ever heard of the Ryder Cup?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm doing next year. I'm doing a Hall of Fame event with 4 Hall of Famers play against, it'll be 8 Hall of Famers, and they play against each other. And the purse is, I think, $2 million.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
And we got we're trying to get more sponsors because I want to, we're going to televise it, pitch it to someone. We're going to play one in Sawgrass, because I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. One in Sawgrass and the other one in Firestone. Jacksonville, Florida. Man, you guys are good. Firestone is in Ohio. That's where Tiger hit that one shot. So it's like a 2-day event over 3 days. We're gonna play in Jacksonville on Friday. We're gonna fly down on Saturday or fly to Ohio and play Sunday. So it's like 2 days, and it's gonna be the LeRoy Butler Hall of Fame invitation. We're gonna do it every year, but it's gonna be on TV, and we're gonna have like GoPros on the guys' hats so you can see him play golf. Because we got some really good golfers who are Hall of Famers, and I'm having a meeting about putting it together at this thing, and we're very, very excited.
That's so cool.
Who's the best golfer on the team?
Great question. This may start a riot. Now, Brett probably could, but he can't putt. Hit it 300, hit a wedge 160, middle of the green, 12 feet, and he'll push it by 100 feet. Put him to the side. Ryan Longwell is probably the best golfer in Packer history.
Wow.
He's like a scratch. Bill Schrader probably is the longest hitter, wide receiver. He hits it like 380 all the time with a little shape. Matter of fact, Brett played me and Darren Sharper best ball for $13 and he never paid us.
We're going to have to get on him about that.
Oh, trust me, I'm going to tell him about it next week. He's still ain't going. So,
Don't
because when
forget
you
about
saying
it.
the best golfer, you're touching a subject that's guys really get in each other's face about it. But I say Ryan Longwell is the best Packer, in my opinion, the best Packer player golfer of all time.
Wow. That's a statement.
Kind of makes sense. Punters and kickers would make
Yeah,
good golfers.
yeah, I can see
Just
that.
precision under pressure.
Yes, yes.
And
Sterling Sharp is very good too. With a lot of very good, very. I'm talking about like scratch
yeah,
or like
Oh,
three
jeez.
handicap that wears a white belt. That white belt they can play. Yeah,
I I saw Sterling. I think it was last year, right? Sterling Sharp's Hall of Fame video,
yeah.
which was incredible. Just the emotion that went into that, and that was one of the not to pivot from the golf thing, but
No, it's
uh,
great because this year going in after waiting for so long. I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Well, I wanted to talk more about yours too because I feel like everyone's is special and unique, and that's what makes the NFL Hall of Fame so incredible. Is how you find out that you're getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What was yours like, and what was the emotion surrounding you when you found
Oh,
out?
yeah. Because what happens is,
Charles
uh,
Woodson.
it man, you guys are good. Because if you're a defensive back, you don't think there's ever going to be an opportunity. You're thinking, that's for wide receivers, I mean, running backs, because that's what people say. But defense wins championships. But my first year, I was a first year finalist in 2020, and I saw the GOAT get out of the car. I kind of knew I wasn't going to make it. This was my first time being up. And I was so happy for John Lynch, because that's my brother. I mean, he deserves it. And I was so happy for Steve Atwater. But two things can be true. Get your ass in so I can get in. That's what I'm thinking. I saw Roger Staubach getting out of the car in Miami. I thought, I just didn't know what to do. Because sometimes you think players, you meet them, it can go bad. They can be like narcissistic, arrogant, blow you off. But he was so nice. Congratulations on being a finalist. It made me feel great. And then when I saw the next year, I saw Drew Pearson get in. That's my favorite of all time. Drew Pearson, 88, because I was a huge Cowboy fan. I mean, I actually got tears in my eyes because he deserved it. And he had to wait so long.
I think he was from Jersey.
I mean, I was just so, and then coming out of the pandemic, because it used to be real quick. You sit in a room, you get a phone call or not. Think about that anxiety. The last finalist, they fly you down there, and then if you make it, you're on the honors that night. So I gotta tell you a funny story about Antonio Freeman. So we're in my hotel, me, Antonio Freeman, Gary Ellerson, and a couple of media guys, and my wife. And we're in this room just chilling. So we hear a knock. Mother, mama, we done made it. I open the door. Antonio Freeman left the room to get something to eat to come back.
I was gonna say room service.
I'm like,
You can't leave the
Freeze,
room in that.
you can't leave the room. Oh, I wanted something to eat. So I knew I would, that was, oh, I wasn't gonna make it. But it's okay. Got a phone call, and I think it was Mr. Baker, the big tall guy was knocking on the door. He said, unfortunately, LeRoy, I said, oh, whoa, I'll see you next year. Don't even worry about it. I'll see you next year. I'm good. And I hung the phone up, and people didn't know if I got in or not because I'm the same guy. Because no one knows until they see the honors.
Mhm.
So the next couple of years, you got the pandemic, and then I'm thinking, okay, we um hadn't heard anything. I knew I was a finalist, hadn't heard nothing. I said everything leaks. They got to leak out who made it. Watergate leaked. I mean, everything leaks. It was tight. And then I just remember, well, and the Packers just lost to San Francisco, so I'm a little distraught. I didn't make it again, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind waiting. And guys, I remember 8 o'clock in the morning, I get a knock on the door. I look out the peephole and I see Charles Woodson in his gold jacket. said, why is Wilson at my house? And I opened the door and saw those cameras. I just lost it. 'Cause I thought about my teachers who I love. I love teachers. I thought about my mom, who's my hero. I thought about growing up in poverty, growing up with braces on my legs, not real big. I didn't have a six pack. I had a one pack with a bunch of fat. I didn't go to sleepovers. I didn't have girlfriends growing up. It was always negative. Check all the boxes. Extreme poverty, violence, prostitution, killings. I made it out of all of that, and you get overwhelmed. And that's when it hits you only at the time, 362 guys in out of 40,000. And they're
That's
at my house.
incredible.
It was amazing.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm so happy you're in. Zoom is timing us out. We have 2 minutes left, so I'm going to ask a quick question before we get
We
timed
still don't
out.
have the budget for unlimited Zoom, unfortunately.
It's okay. I like that better though. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I guess I'll ask. I know it's asking about someone else, but even growing up in Giants territory, I had so much respect for this person. Just loved watching him. What was it like playing in the same secondary as Deion Sanders? Probably get asked this a lot, but I just need to know.
Yeah, he taught me about brand. Your brand is everything. People didn't even know his name was Deion Sanders. It was prime time. And he would always say, do you step up in big games? No, I step up in all games. All games are great to me. So I learned from him about brand. That's why I always use LEAP with all my branding. And when I do my documentary, I sign a production deal to do to tell my story. So I'll come back on and make sure we promote that. But this was so much fun because it was football. I love that.
Of course, you should be getting royalties for that.
It's okay.
Every team does it.
I know. I just like the fact that we did put a statue out there, but it was for the fans to be me.
Yeah. I saw
And
that.
so it was great.
That was cool of you, though, because I heard you were asked to be in it, but you just wanted to make it about the fans.
No, I don't want it to be me. I wanted the fans to go take a picture with it, and they're me.
Yeah,
That's the best way to do it.
that's cool. Well, LeRoy, our time's running out, but
Yeah, thanks so much.
this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, we definitely doing a part 2.
Oh, hell yeah.
100%.
I'm so down.
We should do it later in the summer real quick and talk about the schedule.
Yes,
Comes out
I
tomorrow.
am
Let's do
down.
that. Yeah, for training camp, we'll talk the schedule. By then, I have a lot of stuff to release and talk about. So I just had so much fun. This is one of the best podcasts I've ever been on.
Yeah, so that was LeRoy Butler. LeRoy. And fun interview, like Joe said. He's actually going to be a future guest. It sounds like he wanted to come back on at some point. He said
he wants to be a co-host. I think.
I think so. We might have to give him an offer at this point.
He might have the credentials.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of fun stuff we talked about, Joe. Joe is like the biggest '90s NFL fanatic. Actually, Joe, just NFL history in general. Like you ask Joe anything about NFL history, he knows it. So
I talked to him about his Cincinnati regular season game in 1992, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. He knew exactly what I was talking about. And that spawned into like a 15-minute story about how that was the moment. And I was like, yeah, I know. I saw it on NFL Throwback. I said that out loud while watching it. I said, that's the moment.
How old were you when you saw that throwback?
That was middle school, I bet.
That game happened when I might have been 1 when that happened. 1992? I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm saying the throwback of when you watched it. It was definitely after school, 7th grade.
Oh. Probably, yeah. I
loading
used
up
to
on
binge
pizza and bread or something, like bread and soda.
Bread and soda. Watching NFL films about the 92 Bills. Oh, great.
Spitting out everywhere. That's the moment.
Fun fact.
That's
Joe,
when they knew they had a guy.
Joe loved root beer growing up. He definitely had a root beer in his hand while watching that.
100%.
You know what? And just a little. We used to be the worst. We'd have to wait. We'd have to wait for Dugan to be done eating his soda and bread before he'd leave his house to do anything after school. It was
I didn't
miserable.
want to die of starvation. I didn't want to wither away.
We'd all be
The
off the
gust of
bus,
wind
like
could have blown me
ready
away
to
at that
go,
point.
ready to go do something, and we'd have to wait because you had to have bread and soda.
Old habits don't die. Joe's kind of like that still. You ever ask him to hang out? He's like, I got to eat something.
I do.
He's got to get his calorie intake in.
I feel like I lose like 2 pounds every hour if I don't eat. I'm like the guy from Thinner. Like I just have to. Not so much anymore. My metabolism's kind of shitty. But
that's what happens when you age.
I know. I just had 4 slices of pizza. I don't think I have to eat for like 2 days.
Look at you.
4 slices.
I know, I'm a little fucking piggy.
I would think that Joe's that like on his second slice he starts hating himself and he's like, I gotta go look at myself in the mirror.
No, he's sitting there and he's whipping himself on his back as he's eating. Disciplining himself.
Like the girl from The Exorcist?
No, like the dude from frickin' what was that movie with the priest? I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, flogging. You were flogging yourself.
Oh, I know what you mean. From the Tom Hanks movie.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Da Vinci Code.
I think we saw that in theaters.
I think we saw
that together.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Oh, that movie fucking sucked.
Anyway, so back to the Trae Young comment. Dugan obviously is not up with the times, and I would just like to point out that Trae Young, if you'd like to come on the podcast and talk about the Knicks, we know you have time. Please feel free. Reach out to Steve. We'd love to have you on so you could actually talk about your feelings. We know you're not doing anything right now anyway. So.
Our email,
and I think you're an underrated value add to your team, so I'll stick up for you. I know that means a lot.
At least one of us like you.
Joe's always been a big supporter of Trae Young.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't think he's like a top 10 player, but people who say he's like a losing player, I think you put him in the right situation.
And if we need to negotiate a deal to get you on, Steve actually has an uncle that lives in Turkey for hair transplants.
If you put him on the Orlando Magic, that team is going to win 55 games.
To be fair, I don't disagree with that. I actually do agree with that. That Orlando team is going to be a problem in the future. So
cover up his defensive deficiencies, kind of like the Warriors do with Curry, even though Curry's a better defender than Trae Young. Yeah, I think he can thrive.
Yeah, Curry's also a more likable human.
You know who's the next Pacers team? The Pistons.
Definitely.
That Pistons team is going to be an issue. That's why I kind of think now we kind of do have to go championship or bust because our window, while it's still going to go after this, so is everybody else's. And
especially
that
Giannis
Pistons
leaving.
Team is, yeah.
Giannis will be out of the East.
Well, maybe
Tatum's not going to be back next year. I mean, who's going to be the top 3 seeds in the East?
I mean, it sounds like that Giannis wants to come to New York, but I think it's going to be with Brooklyn, and I think that he's going to absolutely make a horrible mistake doing that.
I believe in Mitchell Robinson. I'm not going to give him up. Giannis can go somewhere else.
We've had this conversation in the past. I don't want Giannis. I think he's a great player, one of the best in the league, but at what cost? Like you would gut this roster so bad, and Peterson's not going to get that strikeout. You would gut this roster so bad just to bring him in. At the end of the day, I'd rather see them get more ancillary pieces, maybe find a way to increase our bench depth that Thibs actually wants to use and see how much further we can go with this, So that, I don't think Giannis is a good move for us. I do think that if he wants to come to New York, it will be in Brooklyn. But again, they're going to give up all those picks they just accumulated. They're going to give up whatever promising talent they have. And then what's Giannis left with here? He's better off just staying in Milwaukee.
Or going to Oklahoma City.
Cavs are definitely going to be top
Sounds like he
again.
wants to stay east. It does not sound like he has any intentions of going west.
Right situation, though. He's not old, but at his age, he needs to go into a winning situation.
Yeah, but even then, like, if you're Oklahoma City, so what are you giving up to get him? You're giving up Chet. Chet Holmgren's going. Whatever picks you probably have coming up are going. And I'm assuming, I don't know, Dort, you're taking anything of value that they remotely have, that's in that 4-5 or bench role, right? Like I don't know.
Jalen Williams.
They're not realistic, though, Oklahoma City Thunder. You know who is realistic, in my opinion? I think
they have more picks than anybody, though. That's
why
they
do. But I just don't see the fit, and I think the organization sees that too.
But also,
they don't need to.
outside of the
They don't
picks, like I said, they're giving up anybody that the talent they've built, they're giving up to make that trade. So it's not even about just the picks. Milwaukee's going to want something tangible back. So you're giving up. Not that I think he's a great player. Chet Holmgren's definitely going. Lou Dort's going. I think you're gutting that roster from what makes them special right now. Same with the Knicks.
A young roster that's close.
Yep.
I mean, you see them after the game when they do interviews that they're all around each other. Like, why would you want to give up that chemistry? But a team I could see being a true player, and this isn't necessarily West, but it's more like, I guess, Central. But San Antonio Spurs had the 3rd pick, and if you link up Giannis with Wemby, and who's their number 2? Who they just drafted
Murray?
recently?
Isn't it DeJounte? Oh no, I thought you were talking about the point guard.
Not Murray.
De'Aaron Fox.
No, well, Fox is still on the team. That would be a nice one, but that's not who I'm trying to think of either. I'm trying to pull up the Spurs roster right now, and I'm probably not going to be able to. Castle's supposed to be pretty good in the future. So
either way, don't you think they're going to be giving
year.
up pretty much? Wemby's going to be the only untouchable thing on the roster. Everything else will be.
I think they would give up Fox for Wemby.
I think so.
Save yourself from giving him that big contract. I think his contract's up now, right? They would have to pay, or in a year. Maybe they have a year of control left. So
either way, you're gutting your roster. Any of these teams that acquire these guys,
but you will give up 0 paint points for the entire year.
Yeah, but who are the Nets giving up? Like, who would the Bucks want from the Nets?
All those 1st-round picks they have. What do they have?
Yeah, the Bucks are going to want those picks plus somebody who can be on their roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have
I don't
to
think
see,
Giannis would want to go to the Nets. They don't have anybody.
I mean, it sounds like he wants to come to New York. From the thing today where he says he really loves playing in New York as away games, and people are speculating. I just don't see a fit here with the Knicks for him. I don't like even I don't even want him, and it's not that he's not a good player. I don't see how we would give up so much to get him, and does it move us forward, or do we stay the same?
Well, my counter argument to that, I agree. I like what they have built. I wouldn't mind bringing in a player, a good like 5th or 6th type player to give them a little more depth.
That's what I'd like to do.
I like what they have here, but honestly, as a counter argument here, I felt like my soul was kind of taken away when they traded DiVincenzo. Julius Randle, I always liked him. He's an all-star. I was excited to see him healthy this season. See what a full season with Julius Randle would be like, and get him back for the playoffs. And if he played like he is right now, it would have been huge for the Knicks. But I mean, last season, my biggest thing was, are you going to hurt the chemistry of this team? Because all people were talking about was the Nova Knicks. They brought in Bridges to be with Hart, Brunson, and DiVincenzo, and then the Knicks are like, for forever the Knicks were trying to get Karl Anthony Towns. And they finally saw a pathway in to get Karl Anthony Towns, and that was trading DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. And at first, I was like, I don't know. I really don't know what to think about this trade. I like Cat. Does Cat bring them to the next level? I wasn't sure. I didn't want to make that decision at the time, but what I did like was the Knicks' chemistry, their grit, how hard they played the previous season, how they played for each other the previous season, and my counter argument is we've already done it once where we've kind of disrupted the team chemistry and players like fan favorites we've gotten rid of. And we're talking about pieces that we might have to get rid of for Giannis. And it's not going to be Brunson. It's not going to be Cat, in my opinion. I think it's going to be an OG type. It's going to be a Bridges type, those type of players. If that's the case, then maybe you do get rid of the picks and hope for like a Brooklyn Nets situation where you trade all your picks to the Celtics to get Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, and then eventually when your time is up, you just trade guys to get picks back. Yes, that's what the Nets essentially have been doing. That's what they did with the Bridges trade. They got 5 first-round picks for that. If this doesn't work out, where you bring in Giannis, now you have a big 3. If it doesn't work out in a few years, you just start to get rid of some of these guys and try to get draft picks back. But I mean, this is the window right now. The Celtics aren't going to be the same next season. I mean, right now is the window. Getting past this Pacers team and hopefully giving whoever comes from the Western Conference a battle. But next season's going to be another big opportunity for this team because the almighty Celtics are not going to be in the picture, in my opinion, because they're already talking about trading Porzingis and De'Aaron Fox, and I've seen some rumors about even Jalen Brown could be on the market. Like you never know.
Al Horford's going to be done.
I'm sorry.
I said Al Horford's going to be done soon, just like playing.
Yeah.
Well, he said he wants to come back next year, but whether it's, I think he goes year to year now, right? So I don't even know if it might not be at the Celtics. So
well, I'm thinking 2 years from now when they have a healthy Tatum, because I mean next year they still might be like a second round team.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be what they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Talking about that Cat trade, I think one of the most shocking things to me when I first heard about that trade, I was like, either both teams are going to hate this or one team is really going to hate this. And then the other one feels like they got the better of it because both of those guys have like all the potential, but I think both had like checkered playoff histories. And the fact that I think both teams would say that they won the trade or that like their guys actually started playing better in their new environment, I feel like it's pretty rare.
Yeah, no, this is a win-win for both teams.
Joe, who would you give the upper hand to at this point?
I don't even know, man. I guess Randall has made more of an improvement than Cat, just because I thought Cat overall was a better player. But Randall was also going again. I mean, Randall was guarded by Draymond Green, and he was like his post game's gotten a lot more like patient in the playoffs. Like he doesn't like. I think I remember, especially like that series against the Hawks, and then against Miami the year after. Like he always felt like he was rushing. And now, like, he'll just do like a sort of like a Paul Pierce, like shoulder bump, sort of wait for like the guy to like bounce off or see when the contact's coming. Like he's taking advantage of his size and like quickness. And Cat is, I think, still like a pretty inconsistent player, but like you saw Game 6 what the guy's capable of. So like I can't really say after Game 6 definitively Minnesota won it. But if you ask me, gun to my head, I would say I guess Minnesota. And maybe because I think Minnesota is a better team. That might like feed a bias, but it's close.
Deeper team. I have a friend who's in Minnesota, and he was trying to go like starter for starter with me the other day, and I think they tried to push the narrative a little bit. Our starting five is better than the Timberwolves. Well, what the Timberwolves do have is they have Anthony Edwards, who is a top 5 player in the league, but we have Brunson. I think Brunson
top 6.
Who Brunson?
He's probably like 6 or 7 now that Tatum's injured.
Yeah, but he also might be the best playoff performer in the playoffs right now. Actually, I think statistically he is the best playoff performer in the playoffs. So
he also won the clutch award this season. So like the guy has ice in his veins when it matters. But like he was trying to make a stretch. He was trying to tell me Rudy Gobert is more valuable to the Timberwolves than Cat is to us. And I'm like, that is terrible opinion because if you looked at what Timberwolves fans were saying when they traded Cat, they were so upset. Like that was their guy. That was a top 3 franchise player of all time, if not number 2. I think a lot of people are putting Anthony Edwards as number 2 behind Kevin Garnett now. But still,
and to be fair, Rudy Gobert's best years are probably way behind him. And actually, they were talking about this on the broadcast a couple days ago. That
he won the Offensive Player of the Year last year, right?
No, I think it's been a little while, wasn't it?
No, he won last year.
Well, either way, they were saying that Mitchell Robinson statistically is a better rim protector right now is the better of the two of them as a rim protector in the NBA right now. They said this year Mitchell Robinson is statistically while he's played is a better rim protector than anybody in the NBA. So, I mean, I'm just trying to play the argument that he was having with his friend that that's not a good argument. Cat is a much more. I was basically making the argument that as a rim protector, which is what Rudy Gobert is, that's what his specialty to the team is. We have a better one who doesn't even start. Like Cat is much more valuable to the Knicks as a starter. He's a better, and I'm going to say it, he's a better player than Rudy Gobert is. Like, what does Rudy Gobert give you on offense? Nothing.
Oh, nothing. He's terrible. But he's still. I think he's a terrific defender.
Yeah, but I'm saying statistically this year, Mitchell Robinson is the best. Again, the sample size that he played is a better rim protector than Rudy Gobert is. He's better than everybody.
Gobert's had a
I
really
just remember seeing time and time again Jimmy Butler sort of driving to the hoop, seeing Rudy Gobert there and sort of turning around. So I mean, it's tough to put a stat on. If you want to say Mitchell Robinson, I mean I think he's terrific too. But Rudy Gobert is, I think, a little disrespected. I don't know.
No, he might.
He's
like
the
I said,
Trae Young of centers.
I'm just trying to see now if I could find like an actual statistic that shows what I'm trying to see. The problem is that none of them are going to show the sample size because Mitchell Robinson missed so much time. But like here, it's saying that Chet Holmgren this year was the best for a full season rim protector in the NBA, and actually, it doesn't even have. Anyway, whatever. Regardless, Cat, in my opinion, is more valuable to the Knicks than Rudy Gobert is to the Wolves, and I don't think it's close.
No, it's the truth.
It's kind of close. It's a little close.
I mean, I don't know. We could argue about this.
You could be right. It's a little close.
You know what? This is going to turn into like a Caleb Williams argument between me and Mac, or only it's going to be me and you over rim protection. You don't want any of this, man.
I don't, because I can't name any stats. I was just like, Jimmy Butler looked like he didn't want to drive the lane against him.
But that's the hard part about justifying a rim protector, because there is no real stat. I guess you could take blocks, but like there is no real defensive metric that shows the argument we're trying to make outside of just opinion, right? So it is hard to have this argument, to be fair.
Yeah.
My only argument I can say is, if you made I like Mitchell Robinson. He's one of the best defenders in the game right now.
And Mitchell Robinson also didn't start COVID, so you might have me there.
That's true. That is true. But
what is this?
all the
you are dirty.
But this is a question. If you put Naz Reid into the starting lineup and Gobert got injured, I think the Timberwolves fans are still feeling confident. If Cat goes down for the next series, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, and we put Mitchell Robinson
I just want you to know if he does, and I'm coming back to this. And it's going to be your fault.
But I don't feel as confident as a Knicks fan. You're taking away an all-star center from the Knicks. So, I mean, that's my argument right there. Like, Naz Reid, Timberwolves fans are still feeling pretty good.
Naz Reid's a dog. Just want to make that clear. Naz Reid's a dog.
Yeah. New Jersey guy.
But but it goes back to what you said before. The Wolves have more depth than the Knicks. I mean, that's it. Like, we lose Cat. I can't believe I just said that because now I'm guilty. But we are a significantly different. I don't know where we're getting those points from. I honestly couldn't. Precious Achua, please. I don't know where you're getting those points from.
Don't sleep on
PJ Tucker.
We do have PJ Tucker. Yes, we do.
40 years old and all.
Oh my Lord! And he plays like he's 40 years old too.
He looked like he did not want to be out there in Game 6.
Dude, this man shows
It's like, oh my God, I didn't think I'd be playing.
He shows up like a middle school basketball player wearing his T-shirt underneath. He probably didn't even have the shorts on. They're probably like, dude, you need to wear the shorts. Like, he has no interest. He's just here for the ride.
He hasn't shot a warm-up shot since March.
He doesn't even come out. He actually hands people water in the crowd.
He's the best man, though. Everyone loves him.
Well, he's a professional, right? He's been around a long time. He's good for young players. Obviously, the Knicks have a ton of them that just sit at the back of the bench with him. So I'm sure they're getting tons of knowledge. But his days are behind him. But to be fair, he's one of those guys. If you needed somebody to come out and rough somebody up, I think he'd be the guy to do it.
Oh yeah.
But I remember last year during the playoffs when we were playing the Pacers, and I'm like, Jericho Sims, just send him out there. He has 6 fouls to give. Let him just get him out of the way real quick. And we didn't have anybody on the bench that was tough. I feel like if it really came down to it and we had to go back to 90s basketball, he's our best chance.
If we have to see Isaiah Stewart in another playoff series, just send PJ Tucker out there. It's like, I don't need 6 fouls. I need one really good one. Make it count.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Isaiah Stewart against Naz Reid in a foul off. That'd be pretty sweet.
I wouldn't take anyone against Beef Stew.
I think from an aggression standpoint, yeah, he's probably the toughest. He's what was the dude that used to be on the Grizzlies that was considered he knocked OJ Mayo out on a plane over a game of poker, won Defense Player of the Year twice. What was
Tony Allen?
Tony Allen, yeah. That's kind of what Stewart's become, is that guy.
Who's winning in a fight? Ron Artest or Dennis Rodman?
Who?
Ron Artest or Dennis Rodman?
I think
Ron Artest was a scary man. Before he became Meta World Peace, pre-Meta World Peace was a scary man.
Yeah.
So
That man tried
There was one guy from Miami who actually was like a MMA fighter. He had like a 12-0 record as a kickboxer.
Really?
James Johnson?
William? That's right,
Johnson?
James Johnson. Yes. He had a lot of time too to sit on the bench.
Yeah. Well, he had time to develop his craft.
He's in full guard at the end of the bench.
What about a
hell yeah, dude.
fight between Isaiah Stewart,
4-way fight?
Bill Laimbeer, Ron Artest, and I guess Dennis Rodman?
I don't know. I feel like Isaiah Stewart. He's a large man. I know Bill Laimbeer was a decent sized dude, but I mean, I feel like Isaiah Stewart.
Bill Laimbeer never fought anybody though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Isaiah Stewart would probably win that. He's a large man.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of scared when I see
would
him on TV.
Beat them all up.
Karl Malone would beat him all up. Yep. Do you ever hear that story about
That guy was massive.
Hakeem Olajuwon when he smacked the shit out of that dude in the locker room on his own team? Let's put him in there.
Yeah, Vernon Maxwell.
Yeah, let's put Hakeem Olajuwon in there. I think he wins.
Yeah, pre-Muslim Hakeem would probably do
I
nicely.
don't want to kill the vibes here, but Mike has officially lost his bet. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, man.
Did they pull him from the game?
I mean, he's at 101 pitches with 4 strikeouts in 6 innings. They're not sending him back out there.
You don't know that. What if he really wants to head back out?
Nah, but because Mendoza doesn't work like that, so he'll go to the bullpen.
Would Victor Wembanyama make a great MMA fighter or a really shitty one?
A really shitty one.
Shitty.
Yeah,
like that, no shot.
Yeah, he the first time somebody gets a hold of his leg, it's over. It's done.
A great boxer, but a shitty MMA fighter.
No, I can't say he'd be a good boxer either. I don't think he'd be a good boxer either.
I don't know.
Yeah, boxer.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see the reach, and I'm thinking of possibilities.
Yeah, but I mean,
you're probably
outside
right.
of like Tyson Fury, not that this has anything to do with basketball, but outside of Tyson Fury, most tall boxers just don't cut it. So, well, I shouldn't say that. What's your definition of a tall boxer? Actually, what's your definition?
Tyson Fury's like 6'8", right?
He's like 6'10".
Okay,
but like,
there's
a bunch of boxers that were like 6'6", 6'5", 6'7", but there's so many of them at the heavyweight class. So like, are they tall?
Wemby has like Kevin Durant legs. He has like those really skinny Kevin Durant legs.
Yeah, I also do we know that Wembanyama could even throw a punch? Like I'd love to see.
I don't think so.
I mean, the wind up, and by the time it takes to get to you, is like 3 seconds.
Hammer fists.
If he catches you though,
listen, there's a reason why there's guys like Isaiah Stewart in the league. Wembanyama is one of them.
Yeah,
somebody needs to protect him.
He could do high school Joe, where he hides behind a pole and goes side punch.
That's that was 23-year-old Joe,
and
that was called using your environment because I was being attacked.
It was a side punch behind a pole. He used his long, lengthy arms.
That's sound strategy.
He's an urban warrior.
You're strong enough to hold the person with one arm behind a pole, and they can't reach you. You don't need to hit him that hard.
You can't even be that mad. That's actually pretty. He made a very sound argument. That is very good. He's an urban warrior. Honestly, that should be your own fight style.
Years later, he agrees to it.
I felt like Charles. Well, no. See, you claim I started it. That's what I disagree with. When in my life have I ever started that?
How large was this pole that you were able to reach around it? Are we talking like a very tiny pole?
You were
it was a support beam.
Mom's house, right?
What?
There's Matt's mom's house.
Oh, wait, was this? Well, I mean, are we talking about a fight between him and Matt? Because there were plenty of them.
Yes.
Why do you have to bring? If you're going to bring this up, I'm going to defend myself. I'm not the one who. This is just like people's. I don't start a fight and I don't bring up these arguments.
And to be fair, just to be completely clear, nobody defended Dugan more than I did against those situations. Just to be completely transparent, when I was around,
he did.
When I was around, I made sure they didn't happen. If they did, I separated the two of them, told them both to shut the fuck up. But
when I was a 95-pound Dugan, Freck had my back.
I 100%. I love them both, and while I don't see or talk to Matt, which I'd love to, if you're listening, reach out. I definitely defended Dugan to way more. He was my little. I need to take care of him.
When was I the aggressor?
What?
When was I ever the aggressor? That's why.
Never. Absolutely. So, a lot of this stuff was really
Thank you.
stupid. A lot of this was really stupid stuff.
Joe was 6'4". He weighed 95 pounds. And
no, I was Steve. You're forgetting. A lot of this was middle school and high school. I was like 5'7", 5. I was shorter than all three of you.
No, here's where I have to side against you.
Year.
Here's where I have to side against you because a lot of this stuff happened after you were 6'4". A lot of it did. Senior year, junior year, yeah, I could vividly remember a lot of this stuff. I still remember a lot of it.
30% of his body weight was his head. He was
Listen, that's the melon,
True.
baby. That's the melon. But anyway, nobody can say they defended Dugan more than I did. I defended him like I was his squire.
Exactly. Wow. And that's why I brought you on the podcast.
I don't think you did.
That's why I agreed to it.
Mike was like a dog with rabies or something. He like anyone talked about Joe, he just jumped in with his mouth ready to go.
Probably. Well, no, I wasn't. No, to be fair, it wasn't like that. I waited till like he'd get hit or like he was uncomfortable visibly, and then I'd jump in and defend. But no, I mean, I wouldn't say I was a rabid dog. To be fair, I would have defended any of you. Like, to be completely transparent, I would have defended any of you, except Matt, because he made his own problems.
Yes, Matt made his own problems.
Remember when we wouldn't go to Wendy's? And I was like, no, I'm driving you guys home. And I put my foot down on that one. I said, we are not having Wendy's today.
I just want you to know that is a vivid, like, I've thought about that so much over the years. It's like did you ever hear this story, Steve?
No.
I said, look, I will die behind this wheel. We are not going to fucking Wendy's.
So
I felt like I
we
was
were driving
talking
home
to
from school.
one of my kids.
I don't remember. I'm not going to, Matt obviously at this point did not have he had his car, did not have it at this point. And he wanted to go to Wendy's. Dugan said no. And then all of a sudden, I just see hands flying from the back seat.
While I'm driving.
And Dugan's driving. And he, all things considered, did not turn around, nothing. He just kept driving.
I basically had to stick a stiff arm to like just keep distance. And then Mike finally went back and like sort of held him down.
We get to a red light. And I'm like, all right, if this is going to happen, then I'm going to step out the car and when you're going to fight me at the red light right here. And he's right. And then it simmered down, but it was like the most quiet car ride ever.
Wait, did he hit you hard?
He was throwing punches at the guy.
I was like, you're endangering yourself because in order to hit me, you have to take your seatbelt off.
Only thing I'm going to say is thank God that I was in the front seat and he was in the back seat so I could actually do something to like stop it from happening, which I did.
We wouldn't end up in an accident because we were not going to Wendy's.
Anyway, yeah. So
I wasn't giving in that day.
It's just funny you bring that up because I've thought about that so much over the years, and I'm like, why? Like, what did we do? How did we get to this point?
What were you doing when you were getting hit while driving?
Driving.
I basically said, you can hit me all you want. We're not going to Wendy's. I was so angry. I was just like holding it back.
Like at first it was a joke. It started out as a joke. Like we were all laughing. And then it quickly, I think when the realization actually came in that we weren't going to Wendy's, it changed. And I sprung into action as quick as I could.
And to be fair, when I dropped him off, he was just like, I got kind of out of hand. I'm sorry. And I was just like, he could have fucking broke all our necks.
Wait, how many punches did he land?
I don't think it was a ton. I jumped in pretty quickly. I if I remember correctly, I might have jumped in the back seat. I don't remember the whole length, but I'm pretty sure I jumped in the back seat.
He wasn't trying to like knock, like it was like frustration. Like he didn't. No, he basically realized I wasn't going to Wendy's.
No, he was doing. He knew what he was doing. I saw the whole thing. He was not throwing light punches at you. He was throwing punches at you, and he got. I think he only threw one or two. And I if I remember correctly, while Dugan was at the red light, I jumped.
The fucking headrest was.
Yeah, I jumped in the back seat and like was like, all right, if you're gonna fight, we're gonna fight here. And we calmed down. But yeah, I think it was like one or two. Dugan did have long, lanky arms and was kind of able to.
Yeah, old noodle fingers.
We used to, you know what? And I remember that still to this day. I
was a sitting duck, though. I couldn't move.
He was buckled in. So much
I was
respect for
driving.
Saturns. So much respect for Saturns because of that.
Why
Because of
were you
Dugan.
so against Wendy's?
What?
He just really wanted to go to Wendy's. I don't know.
If I remember correctly, Dugan had to go to work, like after school, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And anyway, he just really wanted to go to Wendy's. You're right. You know, listen, Baconators are special. They're real special.
And Wendy's
And
is legit.
to be completely fair, when Matt wanted something and he didn't get what he wanted, it was rough. He prepared me for fatherhood.
Matt specifically prepared.
Matt specifically prepared me for fatherhood. Yes, he did. It's like I see my daughter throw tantrums now. I'm like, oh, don't do this. I've seen this before.
I'll turn this car around right now.
But yeah, we've veered off task here. But that Saturn, just so you know, Saturn is probably the greatest car ever made, hands down. Yep. I remember Dugan used to let me drift it in that parking lot in Hillside.
Oh yeah.
And the whole time would be screaming that I'm going to break his car, and he probably was right. I remember.
I mean, I used to take it off road, and it's not really built for that.
Fun fact: do you know Matt was the reason that Saturn died too?
It did not.
I could have said no, just like Wendy's. I'll defend him on that much.
Yeah, I do not.
You remember the day the Saturn died, right?
Yeah, you could tell this one.
Well, I mean, it's not a big story, but we were driving home. I was actually late to something, so I was making Joseph go quickly, and
you were the Godfather that day.
There was this huge puddle that 5 cars were all to the side of the road, not going through, and there was police lights, and Matt was like, "Whatever, just be, floor for this puddle."
Oh, I remember this actually.
Joe was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, just speed through it." And Joe just tries to speed through it, and Matt goes out the window and gives the 5 cars the finger and goes, "F you guys!" And all of a sudden, Joe makes it halfway through this puddle, and it just the car starts smoking and shuts down.
To be fair, did that puddle look as deep as it was?
No, they never do.
I thought you were.
No, that was I didn't. That seemed like maybe a foot at the most. It was 4 feet deep. My entire hood was underwater.
Steve isn't innocent in all this either, by the way, just so we're completely transparent. Steve did some dumb shit with his car, too.
My car? I also...
The truck.
Also, there was a point when Joe's parents thought Matt and I were the worst influences on him.
I mean, they were half right, for sure. Easily, half right. Another Matt story, Dugan, I think we're all here for this, where he used to jump his truck in Atlantic Highlands over that speed bump. You don't remember that? The speed bump behind Mike's Deli in Atlantic Highlands where he'd speed up and he'd hit it and he'd launch his dad's truck in the air?
Oh, my God.
Vaguely.
That's PTSD. He's cut out a lot of these memories.
He has.
What would I care about that? It's not my truck.
Because we probably could have died.
Joe, be real. You have
no. If I had my seatbelt on, we were fine. Over a speed bump in a truck.
You know, you got to bring him on to.
We came close to dying when that boat went. Oh
God,
vertical.
Yeah, no,
60 miles per hour on the water.
Oh God, I try not to remember any of that stuff.
I think that was probably the closest.
We did a lot of dumb shit. Mm-hmm. Were you there? You were there. Remember we bought the raft. We had to carry it a mile through the woods.
No, I helped pay for that, and you guys sunk it on the first time, and I couldn't make it.
Didn't we? So it was just I think we all participated in paying for it. To be fair,
no, I was at work. I wasn't there. I heard about it.
I just remember there was 4 of us. It was me, Matt. I don't remember who the 4th was, and Mitch Bebo. And the deal. So we were like, all right, me and Matt will carry it back from rafting, but you guys have to carry it. Oh, who was it? I don't remember who it was, but you guys got to carry it. Wait, was it you, Steve?
What day was this?
The rafting through the Navasink in that inflatable raft.
I think I was there for that.
Yeah, so I think it was you. So we made a deal. I think him and Mitch would carry it down through Hartshorn Woods down to Navasink River, and then me and Matt would carry it back.
Big hill.
Big hill. It was like a mile and a half of whatever. And so we went rafting. We sunk it, obviously. The great, we sunk it in the Navasink River. And then Matt had to bring it back home. We both just called a cab.
Yeah, I lost my $60 down payment on that.
Yeah, no, that was an awful ROI. But to be fair, going into it, if you thought there was going to be some kind of good outcome,
Well, at least you guys got to see it sink. I never even saw what it looked like.
we made it out to like that little sandbar in it. I don't even think we had oars.
No, you guys were throwing horseshoe crabs at each other. That's what I
No,
remember.
one person was throwing horseshoe crabs.
Yeah.
Your hope and dreams are finally
I
crushed.
see that. You know what? Now I just need a win at this point. I don't even care. I'm
All right.
devastated.
Do you want to briefly preview OKC Minnesota and wrap it up?
Yeah, I do want to make one point before we go into the preview. I don't know. Did you guys watch the Thunder game today?
I did.
I did not. I'm going to be honest. I was watching PGA.
So I don't know if I've ever seen Jokic that lost. As soon as they put Caruso on him, he just was having such trouble getting into the paint and actually scoring and finishing drives. So props to the Thunder. I don't know if they did this the entire series. I didn't pay that close.
No.
This
It was just today they started.
Not this much. Not this much.
Yeah.
Briefly, they would do it for stretches, but not. I mean, they would do it for an entire quarter. I felt like
that is such a weapon for the Thunder moving forward. Caruso's 100% going to be on Edwards next series, because Caruso, he can guard anyone on the court. He is, we talk about best defenders in the league. Caruso's up there. He's top 3 defender.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He was able to. I mean, obviously a lot of it was help, and sometimes he was fronting Jokic while maybe Hartenstein actually guarded him in the post.
Yeah.
But I also felt like they got away with that. They probably were if Caruso picked up a couple of quick fouls, he probably wouldn't have been as aggressive. But Caruso was almost putting his elbow and trying to lift them up. They were really seeing what they could get away with. And Caruso's can't be much more than 220. So it's really
to be
impressive
fair,
what he was able to do.
didn't, if I remember correctly, didn't Thibs in the Philadelphia series last year ended up towards the end where they started shutting down Embiid? It was because they put OG on Embiid. So we kind of
OG's bigger than Caruso.
Yeah, but Embiid's a giant man. But I'm just saying that sometimes those big guys, they just, when you got little arms sticking in, guys that know how to steal the ball, it makes it much harder to defend.
The center of gravity is weird because you're used to being able to shoulder somebody.
Yep. No, I think it's a great strategy. It's the same as when you put a long wing defender on a point guard. It makes sense, but it can backfire as well. Just to be completely transparent, it can backfire. It absolutely could. So we need Steve brought up the other day, not has anything to do with it, that we should sign Austin Reeves. That's why we should sign him. Offensive talent and can play defense. We need our Alex Caruso.
That's who I was trying to think of before when I was thinking of depth pieces. Instead of Giannis, go after Reeves.
I'll take Connect.
Yeah, that'd be a big one. But yeah, I mean, Caruso got physical today. And that was nice to see. Even he wasn't on Jokic earlier in the game, and he was on. I found out I always called him Braun. It's Brown. But he was on Brown.
That was Braun.
No, this goes back to the Patrick Waugh conversation. Spell it right.
Yes, they were calling him Brown.
Patrick Roy is egregious.
But he was on him in the corner, and he forced a turnover, and it was just such good defense. He had nowhere to go. So I mean, the guy can cover anyone. But the one thing that I noticed with the Thunder today, and I think it's been pretty prevalent throughout most of the season, that it's been on display, is once they get running, you can't stop them. Once they get into their style of basketball, that fast pace, causing turnovers, starting fast breaks, that's what happened to the Nuggets. Is the Nuggets were up by 6 at the end of the first quarter. They were looking in the driver's seat, and then
they're up by 12.
I mean, yeah,
very early. Yeah,
they were up big in the first quarter, but at the end of the first quarter, it was 6. And once the Thunder started putting some pressure on defense, they made that switch Caruso on Jokic, and they were just causing turnovers. It was over. They were just running with the ball, and honestly, they're in a position that's kind of similar to the Knicks, where when Jokic is on the bench, they gave up their leads every single time, and that's happened a few times with the Knicks when Brunson's on the bench. So the depth caught up to the Nuggets in this series. We're
Well,
lucky.
it doesn't help when Jamal Murray is not showing up. Aaron Gordon's playing on one leg. Michael Porter Jr. is playing on one leg. The only guy, and Westbrook, it's either he's really good
or really bad.
In this case, he had a terrible game. And yeah, Braun, he's the only one that showed up other than Jokic.
Keep going on Braun. I think that's his name. I heard Brown during the broadcast. I always thought it was Braun. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, in regards to the Timberwolves series versus the Thunder, I think the Thunder are going to be heavy favorites probably going into this series. What, in your opinions, gives the Timberwolves a chance?
They played them well. Whenever they play in the regular season, they always play them tight. And Oklahoma City is a team that blew out teams often. Like the games are often over in like the third or fourth quarter, and the Timberwolves always stuck with them. Anthony Edwards will not be intimidated, and they are much deeper than the Nuggets, so they are not going to lose by a war of attrition like the Nuggets did. And in terms of athleticism, they can keep up with the quickness. So maybe those fast break points off a steal won't be quite as easy. Because, like you said, once somebody got a steal and they were out like 3-on-2, the Timberwolves can break that up. The Nuggets, I mean, it's a bucket at that point.
Yeah, with the Timberwolves also that I feel like gets understated. And I said this to Kevin, actually. We were talking today because he's a big Thunder fan. The Wolves are just a really tough team. Like, I like to say like they're kind of like a throwback to 90s basketball. Like, they're going to get in your face. They're going to play their style, their brand of basketball. They're going to force you into their brand of basketball. Like, you're not going to out-tough them on the court. Honestly, I don't think any team in the NBA is going to out-tough them on the court. And I think that's going to play a big factor in this. Plus, the Thunder are still a young playoff team in terms of like playoff pedigree. And I think that if the Wolves play that half court brand of basketball where they're roughing you up and, Anthony Edwards is talking and everything, it's going to be really hard to beat them. By no means, I know this is a lot of people are kind of, and I see it, on DraftKings, things like that. A lot of people are dismissing the Wolves' chances. I think that they're going to be there the whole time. And I wouldn't be shocked to see this go 7 games or even them pull out a win.
At least.
They're a throwback to 90s basketball. That is a tough, physically daunting. Not that they're the most talented or anything like that. I mean, I think they might have inevitably the most talented basketball player in the world on their team, but they are a team that's going to be in your face. You want to get scrappy, they're going to get scrappy. You want to play tough basketball, they're going to play tough basketball. They're going to foul you. They're going to pop right back up when you foul them. Like, I think that kind of is the brand of basketball the Knicks kind of play, at least in this playoffs run, but they're just better at it. I think that team is a very, very scary team.
I guess
just one more point, and that's probably going to be it for me for the series, unless you have more questions about it. But like, I find it's weird that the NBA ahead of time scheduled Game 1 of the Western Finals on Tuesday and the Knicks on Wednesday, even though like let's say the Nuggets somehow won today with their thin roster, like the Knicks and Pacers haven't played since March, and all of a sudden the Nuggets, they get a 2 days rest. Like I'm sure there's a reason for it, but it's not like the finals, I feel like, where the start date is set. So I don't see why ahead of time they wouldn't just put the Eastern Conference Finals first.
They should. Both teams closed it out earlier. Like, it would make sense in that regard.
By the way, just to break it up, the Yankees and Mets are obviously playing right now as this is going on. Brazoban, the reliever for the Mets, damn near just ended Pete Alonso's season.
I don't have it on it.
He just barreled Pete Alonso over, trying to make a play first.
Is Alonso good?
He got up slow. I'm watching it right. It looks like his knee got pushed back. Let me see here. They're kind of just keep playing the replay over and over again. So I'm assuming they're giving Alonso time to see if he's okay. It doesn't, now it's in slow motion, doesn't look bad, but in fast it looked really bad.
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing the ball to first and just not getting the out, he barreled Alonso over. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it looks like Panthers are going to beat the Maple Leafs. So there you go. That's our hockey corner.
Panthers are a good team.
3-0.
The Panthers are a very good team. I've been on record previous. The Kachuk brothers, I think, are nasty. So, not shocked.
It's gonna be another. I think it's gonna be another year where Canada doesn't win it. Although I don't know.
Poor 51st state.
I mean, aren't the Oilers
Basically
still in it? They have a chance.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Dallas will be tough. I'm only saying that just to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. I can't name a single player on Dallas.
Listen, Dallas is a good
And,
team. They've gone back. This is the second, or this might be their third year in a row they've gone to the conference finals. So I mean, they're a good team.
Brett Hull.
Brett Hull. That's a throwback.
There you go. That's the one guy I
Anyway.
know.
I guess
So
we'll close it out.
all right,
there.
let's do some predictions real quick. Let's do predictions on the series. Let's just get that out there now because I don't
Unbiased.
Unbiased predictions, fair. That is 100% fair.
I think Trae Young and Rudy Gobert will be co-MVPs next year.
Talking about for this series, the conference finals. Steve, you want to go first? You want?
Yeah. I
Unbiased.
it's so I have like a superstition. Whenever I trash my favorite teams, they end up winning, and whenever I pick them, they don't win. In my heart, I feel very good about this Knicks team right now. I don't know. I just feel pretty confident, but I also am very aware that the Pacers are playing really good basketball, probably the strongest in the NBA right now, if we're going to be honest. So do I want to go with my like gut, or do I want to go with my superstitions? So I'm going to go with my superstitions because I don't want to be there. I don't want to go back and say like on tape I have the Knicks winning the series, even though my gut is saying the Knicks. This is like a special Knicks team that can make the NBA Finals. I'm going to pick Pacers in 7 for that for the superstition reasons.
But since you acknowledged it, doesn't that negate the jinxing power?
At this point, just go.
Yeah, fuck it. Knicks in 7. Give me Knicks in 7. In the other series, I think OKC in 6.
Dugan?
I mean, yeah, Steve basically. Yeah, that's what I had. I feel like the Pacers. They're the kind of team that once like the avalanche starts, you find yourself down by 30 quick. So I think like the Celtics, as good as they've been, have always had an ability to sort of let teams back, even though they are more accomplished than the Pacers. So I feel like the Knicks, like they're going to lose a game or two this series where they're going to look absolutely terrible, and Miles Turner's going to have like 6 threes. Halliburton's going to have like a 15 and 17 or something. And I'm almost worried because this is like the first series I feel actually confident about the Knicks since probably when we played the Cavs a couple of years ago in the first round, or maybe in Miami in the second round. We end up losing that. But I'll say Knicks in 7 just because I truly, like, if I was objective, I actually think I would pick the Knicks. Just because the Knicks showed that with a depleted roster, they could take them to 7. Same circumstances last year. We have home court. I do agree the Thunder are probably a better home team than the Knicks are a home team. I don't know why. I feel like the Knicks are just a better road team. So I feel like it'll probably be split the first 2 games. It'll probably be 2-2 after 2, and then we'll just have to gut out a 3-game series at that point. And then Oklahoma City, I can't really pick against them. I feel like they sort of found themselves as a younger team. I wouldn't be shocked if the Timberwolves won, but I also wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma City won in like 5. So I'm actually going to match Steve. I'll say OKC in 6.
All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to start with the Timberwolves Thunder series. So I really do feel that when you get this deep in the playoffs, that you can't underestimate a team's toughness and the fact that they're going to wear you down. So I'm going to take the upset. I am going to say that the Wolves win it in 7. I think that it's going to be a gritty series. I think they're going to push the Thunder to their limits. I honestly don't feel. I guess this series they kind of been tested a little bit with the Nuggets, but for the most part, the games they won, they coasted. I think the Wolves aren't going to allow that. They're not going to let up. I think it's going to be hard to defend. I don't think there's anybody that can defend Anthony Edwards currently when he gets going. Outside of Anthony Edwards, I think he can shoot himself out of games, but he equally will take over games. Well, he'll take over games far more often. Julius Randle's playing some of the best basketball I've seen of his career right now. I mean, he's an absolute animal. I know people will say that, they got Chet Holmgren and stuff as a rim protector. I'm going to be honest, I really don't think Randle will play bully ball down low, and that'll be that. And then just the toughness and grit they have coming off. I mean, you got DiVincenzo and Naz Reid. Like, they're tough dudes. Really hard players to play against. So I'm going to take the Wolves in 7. And then, like I said before, the Knicks play that style of basketball as well. Maybe not so aggressive in your face, but they do play that style of basketball. I think that the longer with the Knicks, it's hard because I am worried about the Pacers. I think this is the hardest series that they're going to play in the playoffs right now. But to be fair, I don't feel like the Pacers have really been pushed in the playoffs currently. The Knicks are a gritty team, and they're not afraid of going down. They're not afraid of getting into the fourth, trailing, 6, 10, 12. I think it's going to be hard for the Pacers to close out a game against them. And I also just think the Knicks I do believe in teams of destiny, and I feel like right now they're riding a high. I know we're saying the Pacers are really hot right now. It's hard to say the Knicks are not hot right now. I mean, they've exceeded expectations. They've taken a beating, and they've given beatings. So I'm actually going to be I'm not being biased here because I probably would have did this anyway. I'm going to say the Knicks in 6 against the Pacers. I think that they're a much better home team right now, as we saw against Boston, when they played the Pistons. They were, I think we lost, what was it? We only won one home game, but they played much better at home against the Celtics. I think that home court advantage right now in the Garden is a legitimate, real thing. And I think that they're gonna win a couple at home and close it out. I think it's Knicks in 6.
That scares me. We all pick the Knicks. That's usually not a good sign.
Well, I mean, Vegas feels the same way. Vegas feels like the Knicks are the better team as well. But the thing is also, while there's things that the Knicks do, and just to add to my point, I know we don't have a bench and we complain nonstop about it as Knicks fans, but 100% honest with you, those guys are hard to stop when it comes to fourth because a lot of other players are tired and those guys are still going. And I think that's going to play a factor here. I really do. Obviously, Miles Turner is going to do his thing. He's going to, like you said, he's going to have those games where he hits threes. There's nothing we can do about it. But there's going to be games where, stretches. Like they couldn't stop OG in a stretch last year. Now you got Brunson healthy. You've got Hart healthy. You've got Mitchell Robinson healthy. We've got Cat now. We've got Mikal Bridges. This is a much different team than the Knicks team last year. That, to be fair, a lot of us would have said that team last year would have beaten the Pacers. So this is a much better team. I expect a good showing as long as there's no injuries and nobody gets hurt, which, that's obviously a huge factor. I stand by. I think the Knicks are the better team.
What matters is what ESPN's experts pick for this series, because apparently they got both. They got the Knicks series wrong. They were 0 for whatever. I forget how many experts there are. And then I think they got one other series wrong, maybe the Cavs series. So they got both the Eastern Conference series wrong, and not one of them picked the Pacers or the Knicks to move on. So
I definitely didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like there's a good chance that it's a lot of people are confident the Knicks are going to be there. It's just a matter of who's going to close out the Western Conference. So should be both very good series. A fun fact is, so 3 of the teams in the conference finals have never won an NBA championship, and obviously the 4th one hasn't won since 1973. So whoever wins, this is going to be the first championship out of these 4 cities since 1973. So that's a really cool storyline too. So, but we'll close out the episode there. A lot of NBA talk, just because 'tis the season. We're deep into the playoffs now. Also a fun interview with LeRoy Butler, who might be a recurring guest. Hopefully we can see him later in the summer. He wants to talk some Packers football going into the season. So that should be fun to set up. But I'm looking forward to our next episode, because the next time we record, there's going to be a game or two in these conference finals. So we'll get to talk about that. But until then, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.